Hi, everybody. Welcome to FNS Wrestling Podcast, episode 103.
That sounds weird when you say it like that.
What?
103. I don't know.
103.
103. It just sounds weird. Or like 103. I don't know. 103 just sounds weird.
So we survived the first sign of the apocalypse yesterday.
Oh my god, yeah. It was so weird.
What was it?
I don't know.
Explain it to our listeners.
Remember I woke up and I don't know, it's weird. Like I feel like recently the last few days I'm progressively waking up earlier.
You're becoming a lazy teenager, but now it's reversing and you're getting up earlier again.
Yeah, which is weird because usually in the summer it's like I'm known for waking up early and then like slowly I would start waking up later because summer you get kind of used to it. Anyways,
summer hours.
I woke up and then mom tells me like the power's out. I'm like it's like usually when the power's out it's like, oh, it's like rain or something, but no, it's just like it was like a Rogers thing, so like It was out everywhere, and like the only place I was able to steal Wi-Fi from was Walmart.
Yes, so
and it was really weird. Yeah,
our Canadian listeners are probably well aware, but anyone international listeners, if it's not the largest cable and internet provider in Canada, it's got to be in the top 2. So they had a nationwide outage of internet. So
it only lasted yesterday, thankfully.
Yes, although the internet's not back to full capacity today. Like it's definitely certain things are slower. But you watched me trying to find Dynamite.
That is
correct?
True. That's fair.
So yeah, it affected us all day yesterday. We basically had no internet whatsoever, nor did most people that we know, because pretty much everyone's using that
Never have
provider.
I missed YouTube more, because like I don't know,
it was kind of nice. It was a throwback for me. You guys had to live like I did as a kid. You didn't have internet. You had to go outside and do stuff.
Yeah, this is why you download Free Guy and Darth Maul episodes of Clone Wars on your phone. This very specific reason.
So it was down all day yesterday. We weren't even sure we'd be back today in time to post this, but I think we're gonna get away with posting this. Although it made finding that we had only watched half of Dynamite.
We didn't get to finish. We would have finished Dynamite yesterday if things had been normal.
But I couldn't even find it on my legally recorded device, so I had to use nefarious means to find it, and we did eventually. But yeah,
and you had to like pay cash yesterday, and
even today out with your brother for basketball practice, there's still plenty of places that are not accepting debit yet. It's
hopefully
cash
it's
only.
normal in a couple of days, because otherwise that may present a problem. Actually, as long as ATMs are working, I'm fine.
Yeah, so everything seems to be on its way back to normal. Hopefully our home personal internet gets back up to speed shortly, but outside of that, I don't know what other banter. Oh, you watched a movie last night? Don't spoil anything.
Aw, that's not very fun.
Just say what you watched and whether it was good or not.
That's not very fun. So I went to see Thor: Love and Thunder yesterday.
And it opened yesterday, is that right?
Yeah, well, you could also see it a day early on Thursday, but...
So even that was questionable, because whether they're not internet, so were they only taking credit card or cash, right? No debit yesterday?
I couldn't do credit card, though.
And even just online booking tickets, obviously,
was
affected?
Their site is back up, though, thankfully, so because I still have one friend who still needs to get a ticket, so it was fun. It was actually weird, because when we went there, the sign, they were putting up things on the door that said Thor sold out, which I've never seen them do that before, so that was pretty cool.
It looked busy when I dropped you guys off.
Yeah, it was, like, they were actually putting up, like, the Thor sold out. I'm like, I haven't seen that before, but I already got my tickets, so
So you enjoyed the movie?
Yeah, it was awesome. For me, my first Marvel movie was back in 2017, which would probably be like about the same time. I want to say it came out in July, which would be Thor Ragnarok. Hold on, I'm gonna see what the release date was.
Which you enjoyed very much.
It was in November. I was right. God. Okay, so I was wrong. It was in November. It was November 3rd. Anyway, so I really liked that. That was my first movie. I went with my friend Hudson, who's it's his birthday today, so
happy birthday, Hudson.
Shout out to him.
And he went to the movies with you last night.
Yeah, he went with me last night too, so it's his birthday today, and so we went to that, and so I really like that. Even just not even having seen Marvel, I like that. I enjoyed that so much. Like I remember when they went to Endgame, which was like one of the big ones.
You weren't a Marvel person when you went with them.
I just like he just asked me if I wanted to go, and I just ended up going. Yeah. And I even saw Endgame after that, which was the big culmination of all the movies, which going from Thor 3 to the Endgame was a horrible idea, just like for understanding's sake, right? Anywho, this is basically the long-awaited sequel for that.
Yep.
And Thor's the only one to have 4 movies so far. But so it was really good. It's a lot like Ragnarok, because Ragnarok had like a lot of humor in it compared to the first 2 Thors, and it was like a huge improvement because Taika Waititi was doing it. I don't know if you know him.
I do not.
His claim to fame is, I think it's Jojo Rabbit or whatever. I don't know what that is. Anyways, he did that, so he kind of revived Thor there, and it was a lot more of this, like, there was a lot more comedy in it. Some people were saying it was very hit or miss. I thought, like, generally speaking, I thought it was really funny.
Good.
Like, I think there were a couple times, maybe I'm just like, whatever, but I think generally the comedy hits. His goats are really hilarious, because literally the only thing they do is shriek. Like, absolutely shriek, and it's hilarious. It's funny.
I didn't know there were
physical
goats
gags
involved.
are alright. Also, Gore. For anyone who's a fan of Christian Bale, he was awesome. Gore was awesome.
Yeah.
He's a creepy dude.
Good.
He was sick. He carried. He was awesome. Also soundtrack choice was awesome because they had Guns N' Roses.
Yep.
Plenty. It was like in the Iron Man movies, those are known for having AC/DC a lot. So this was Guns N' Roses.
Nice.
So yeah, it was really good. It was really short though. It was like 2 hours on the dot.
Yeah, that was short.
Minus like credits, right?
As the person who's usually picking you up after these movies, that was short.
So that was a little disappointing because I feel like it could have benefited from like maybe not the usual 2.5 hours, but like maybe another like 20 minutes or something.
Right.
Like I feel like because some of the pacing wasn't the best, but I think generally it was fine. Like I feel like the only issues I had were like nitpicks, so that's good.
Good.
And one of the main things I would praise it for is they brought back Natalie Portman as Jane Foster, and this time she was
you were happy
Mighty
with
Thor.
It.
Yeah, no, she was actually really good. Like she actually had like more character depth, and she's also like fighting cancer, which is her story from the comics. And so like her character was way better, totally revamped. Like she had way more character depth, and it was a lot better. I'm not sure if I like it more or less than Ragnarok, but I really liked it.
So you recommend?
Yeah, going on Monday too.
And I'm going to the movies tonight.
Yeah,
That's
so
weird.
You're seeing Top Gun.
Yes, your mother really wants to see it, and
really?
I try not to support Tom Cruise at all, but
oh yeah, I forgot about that.
He is basically a cult leader at this point, but in my opinion, only. But we are going to go. Friends of ours really want to go as well, so we're going out for a nice steak dinner and then heading to the movies and leaving you kids to do whatever you do.
A funny thing I did is I accidentally got the same seat for both times for Thor. So I sat in D8 yesterday and like the recline, and I'm sitting in D8 on Monday.
You could have hidden snacks under there or something.
Oh, that would have been a funny idea.
Well, I mean, you can just bring it with you the second time.
That's the thing I don't like about seeing movies in the summer is because I don't know, like when you're in the winter, you're like you could wear a coat
and hide your smuggled.
Like I didn't even bother smuggling them because like I'm spending enough on like the snacks there, and like and B like I don't know how to hide it. Like without it being like it's not even spring where you can be like, oh, I'm gonna get cool so I can bring a hoodie. Like no, I can't even do that.
It's usually stop at the dollar store, buy some candy, and smuggle it in.
Maybe I will tomorrow if I'm bored, but I'm not even sure.
You're admitting to a crime on this podcast. How dare you?
Oh, many crimes, like so many crimes.
Yeah. So I don't know. We had people over last night.
To see Minions.
Yeah, we're gonna go see Minions. So your brother wants to see that.
Yeah.
His summer league basketball team's still undefeated. He's playing really well.
Cool.
Yeah, I know you care so much.
I do.
Sports,
totally.
The sport ball update. I don't know. Anything else you want to chat about, or we can get started? We are gonna switch the format up again a bit today, right? We didn't get around to talking about Money in the Bank because mostly you're lazy, and I keep suggesting it, and you keep putting it off, and then it ends up being Thursday or Friday.
You kept saying Forbidden Door, then I would have done it, but part of it was I'm lazy, and I also did not like Money in the Bank.
So we're going to talk about that after news and rumors, then we're going to go back to our normal order of things. I don't think there's any figuring it out. You said there's nothing new to report today, so there won't be that at the end, but I'm going to talk about Great American Bash in any other wrestling business. I think that's all I got around to this week. Things were a little bit busy and lacking internet, so I don't know. I say we shift gears and start talking about some wrestling. You in?
Coolio.
All right. First thing we're going to look at is some of the week's wrestling news and rumors. So taking a look at the ratings, as we tend to do first thing, we have the NXT ratings this week. They averaged 593,000 viewers, which is up 4% from last week. Earned a 0.12 in the key demographic, which is up 9%. So that is actually their second lowest demo number since May. The overall average viewers, I guess, seems pretty reasonable, around 600,000. But again, not the key demo rating they're looking for. They're targeting this show at young people, and young people just continue to refuse to watch it. I'm not considered,
myself included.
I'm in that demo as well, and I've stopped watching it. Right, like I watched it this week just because I said I would watch any special episodes and pay-per-views, but yeah, they're not attracting the demographic they want to.
I refuse to even do that. I was like out after the first segment.
Right. You were there for. Oh yeah, you were there for the intro segment with
Great American Barbecue.
Right. And so AEW Dynamite this week averaged 979,000 viewers, so down slightly from that. Were they 1.2 million last week? So down 4.3%. Earned a 0.36 in the coveted demographic, and that stays the same as last week. So regarding that demo that everyone loves so much, it's the third straight week that Dynamite has topped the Wednesday cable charts in that demographic. So that's good news for them. That's the age group they want. I guess we're the age group that buy stuff and spend money. So that's who they're after. And so a reasonable week for Dynamite. Actually, both shows did fairly well, I think, by their normal numbers this week.
Nice.
I have a light news week. I only have 3 things, so I'm counting on you to bring me anything important.
I have 7.
All right, go ahead.
So first, confirmed on Rampage was Chris Jericho versus Eddie Kingston in a barbed wire death match for Fyter Fest next week. I think it's next week, or it'll be Fyter Fest night 1.
Cool.
So considering there's 2 weeks of Fyter Fest, it'll be one of them. Probably, I think it's next week.
We'll find.
It's worth noting this is not exploding.
Oh, it's not exploding? Well,
No.
We'll see if they know what a death match means, because they don't know what street fight means after this week.
Oh, that is true.
Right? They certainly have forgotten what that means, so we'll see.
I kind of hope someday they do take another crack at the exploding one, though, because, like, I don't know. I think aside from the ending, I remember liking that.
That match was awesome.
Yeah.
And people will always say it was terrible because of the dud explosion at the end, but the match itself was really good. Yeah.
I remember liking the match, so I hope they do that again.
I agree. Speaking of Chris Jericho.
Yes.
Nice. His segment on AEW this week, where he had, Ty Conti slammed Ruby Soho's hand in a car door, right? That was actually pre-recorded because Jericho was not there. He's overseas on what's called the Jericho Chronicles, which I'm not even sure what it is. Sounds like some sort of documentary or something, maybe.
Sounds dumb.
But he should be back in the U.S. next week. So they filmed that earlier and sort of just put it in the show. Looked fairly seamless, right? Like you wouldn't have known if you didn't know, sort of thing. So just a little nugget.
If you didn't know, now you know.
Because it was a late week for me, so I included that. What else you got?
Netflix has pulled Vince McMahon's docuseries.
Nice.
Was near completion, said to be deep in post-production with, like, talking heads.
I love that.
Whatnot.
That's great news. Just, like, no, this guy gets no more publicity. We're not going to, like... Because you know that's going to be a glowingly positive show, right? I'm sure if Vince has approved it. I don't know if he had any say in it or not, but the fact that it's in post-production too, that means they're done filming it, right? So that's a lot of time and money wasted. So I'm not happy for Netflix. I don't really care. I'm just happy that they're not putting more stuff to sort of promote Vince as a decent person, because he's not. I guess me, sorry. So Sasha Banks and Naomi, that saga continues. So now I'm seeing Mike Johnson of PW Insider is reporting that, because there's been debate over are they released, are they not? So he is reporting that as of this Thursday morning, Banks and Naomi are no longer listed on WWE's internal roster. So this is what, like, writers and bookers and whatever are looking at. Like, basically, you don't have access to these people. They consider them no longer working here. So that seems to be a little bit of a more firm statement. He also writes that PWI has heard rumblings, quote unquote, of Sasha Banks maybe engaging in, quote, some signings outside of WWE as early as this fall, right? So she would have to finish her no-compete
clause,
and then away she can go. So it sounds like more and more confidently they are gone from WWE, which is good for them if that's what they want, right? I've got no problem with that.
It's kind of weird how that all turned out.
It is.
Yeah. To continue on my Vince McMahon thread here, some new details on the allegations from Wall Street Journal.
Yep.
So obviously all the content, there's a warning, like it involves coerced sexual acts, so whatever. So a new wave of reporting by the Wall Street Journal has uncovered multiple news stories of sexual misconduct and infidelity pertaining to Vince McMahon.
Shocking.
So it follows a previous reported allegation after which McMahon publicly stepped down as CEO. You know, all that.
Oh, I heard there's more people now. Is that what it is? Yeah.
Per this follow-up article, Vince McMahon agreed to pay in excess of $12 million over the past 16 years to suppress such allegations.
Right.
The payments were made to 4 women, all formerly affiliated with WWE, who signed agreements with Mr. McMahon that prohibit them from discussing potential legal claims against or their relationships with the 76-year-old executive. Wall Street Journal corroborates the story with people familiar with the deals as well. Documents revealed by the Wall Street Journal. $7.5 million of what is described as hush money and an unreported settlement was paid out to a former wrestler who alleged that McMahon coerced her into giving him oral sex and then demoted her and ultimately declined to renew her contract in 2005 after she resisted further sexual encounters, according to people more familiar with the matter. Moreover, in another deal, a WWE contractor presented the company with unsolicited nude photos of McMahon she reported receiving from him. That would be awful. And alleged that he sexually harassed her on the job. People familiar say McMahon agreed to pay her roughly $1 million. The story continues. In another agreement, a former manager who had worked for 10 years before McMahon, before he allegedly initiated a sexual relationship with her, was paid $1 million to keep quiet about it. People familiar say at time of writing, WWE has yet to issue a response to the story. That is a lot of stuff.
Yeah, he basically has done whatever he wants and harassed women as much as he wants and then just pays them, right? He has the money to pay people to be quiet. Like, it's disgusting behavior.
I don't know how anyone gets, because he's so old.
But it doesn't surprise me.
He's so old.
Yeah, but he's a powerful man, right? That's the problem, is he can coerce people because he controls their fate within the wrestling industry, basically, especially back at certain points. There isn't really competition. You can't really go anywhere else. So if he shows interest in you, there is immense pressure, right, to follow through on that. And that is sad and terrible. And then he just pays people to be quiet, and it's awful. And he's a monster that must be stopped, basically.
Yeah, that is so much. I feel like I was talking for so long.
So I'll take over. Speaking of former WWE people in legal trouble, back to good old Sunny.
Got him. Ooh.
Tammy Sitch. So she has recently been issued a delinquency notice by the state of Pennsylvania. Do you know what that means? So that means she is now, according to the notice, almost 1,200 days overdue, so about 3 years, for payments regarding court costs from previous DUI cases. So money she owes from previous things, she's now over 3 years not paying those, right? So she was arrested for DUI in Pennsylvania twice. So that's where this is stemming from. First in 2015, then again in 2016. So again, she's having lots of troubles, clearly mental health issues there that have been unchecked, and she needs some help. But at some point, she needs to be sent away from society if she's going to, again, like we say about Jeff Hardy, continually drive under the influence. We need to keep you away from society, unfortunately. So terrible, terrible things for Tammy Sitch, but a lot of things she's brought on herself, I think. I think it's all you now, buddy. I'm done, so I'll just react to what you've got.
I told you about this earlier. Pac will defend the AEW All-Atlantic title against Shota Umino this Sunday at Rev Pro because Umino is on excursion there. So AEW will also air it on Dark next Tuesday.
Nice.
Apparently the reason, because this is the first defense of the title, apparently the reason that's not taking place in AEW is because it's part of Tony Khan's plan to kind of establish the title as like a prize that can be defended against multiple promotions, and that kind of gives it its own identity too.
Because it sounds
I would think it'd be primarily in AEW. I hope, but that would be kind of interesting. Because
it sounds, even the All Atlantic makes it sound like a territorial, like old school title, right? So
I think that's cool because then it's another title for AEW, in which I hope it's still primarily there, but then also it's kind of different from the other titles, right?
Yeah, and they can keep working with other promotions, right? Which I think is cool. So, and honestly, I became a fan of Umino from Forbidden Door, so I'm interested in seeing that match for sure.
You can catch that on Dark. Yeah, and I think there'll also be highlights on Dynamite.
Right.
Which is Fyter Fest. Next, CM Punk's injury is apparently not looking good. From jumping in the crowd.
Right.
X-ray scan apparently did not bring positive news.
But no details?
No, that's what I saw. Apparently did not bring positive news.
That's
I didn't read more. That's all I got. Then Kushida is confirmed for Impact Wrestling's Derby City Rumble tapings.
Oh, nice.
Which I think is the 15th and 16th.
Coolio.
So that's
good for him. I started to like Kushida right before he got, even before he got released, he was just kind of forgotten for a long time, right?
I'd say pre 2.0.
Right.
We'll say.
Yes.
I wonder if he'll be serious in Impact.
I don't or come back as the time splitter or whatever again.
Probably. Ooh, are they gonna do Morrissey City Machine Guns or Time Splitters? Because Shelley.
Ooh, could be a feud. Yeah. The fight for.
I saw Morrissey Machine Guns are having a match like against each other, so I think that's more like a just exhibition thing. But I don't know. He could play into it. Maybe that's their plan.
He could.
Last one. Speaking of a team who has faced each other before, FTR are defending against Briscoes again. So FTR Briscoes 2 set for Ring of Honor Death Before Dishonor July 23rd. So that's pretty cool.
And as somebody who absolutely loved the first match, it's probably my front runner for match of the year right now.
You gonna try to catch that after? Or you gonna get it?
I don't know. I might get it. I may watch it live. We'll see how it goes.
If we get it, I'll watch it.
Fair enough.
I'll at least watch that match, and then there's also, for those who don't know, there's Yuta Garcia, which is pure title, then TV title Joe Lethal.
I'd watch all those.
Yeah, I'd watch all those. The only one I'm particularly interested in is the tag match.
Right.
I'll see what Gresham's doing also.
Yeah.
If Taylor Russ was on the show, I'd watch it.
Of course you would. You'd be paying for it full price.
Yeah, I'd pay for Taylor Russ.
Who wouldn't, right?
On there. Yeah, so that is everything.
Awesome. I'm glad you got a bunch of stuff because I found very little. But so we're going to first of all talk about last weekend's WWE. Oh, I almost called it pay-per-view.
Was it Saturday?
Premium live event from Saturday, correct? A week ago today.
Yeah.
And that is, we will now discuss in some detail, not as detailed as usual, but we're going to take a look at last Saturday's Money in the Bank. So the opening match on this year's Money in the Bank is the women's Money in the Bank ladder match, which is Becky Lynch, Asuka, Liv Morgan, Lacey Evans, Shotzi Blackheart, and Alexa Bliss.
Just Shotzi.
Looking for the briefcase to get them a shot at a title whenever they want in the next year, I guess is the idea, right? So this match, well, let's talk about it. I don't know. So early on, I thought Asuka's, and this is sort of going to telegraph how I feel about this match. My favorite part of this match was the first 60 seconds where Asuka gets into a striking contest with Becky Lynch, and I thought it looked awesome. Asuka's strikes looked really fast and crisp. And then things deteriorated from there, basically. Some of my highlights / lowlights. Gonzalez can barely lift a ladder with two people on it. Remember, there was supposed to be some sort of impressive power spot, I think, where she
lifted it for a couple seconds, and then she dropped it, and they sold that like it was a move.
Like half a foot. I forget who was on either end of the ladder, but clearly...
Honestly, it was Shotzi.
I imagine
maybe it was Liv. I'm just trying to think like the small ones.
Maybe Liv and Bliss or something. But anyway,
that sounds right.
Probably went better in rehearsal. Did not look very good here. Gonzalez does end up suplexing Becky Lynch and Liv Morgan.
Actually, all those curves in this match begs the question, did they rehearse?
True. She suplexes Lynch and Morgan onto a ladder at the same time. And then my notes, I apologize, I say Gonzalez, who's now Rodriguez, right? But I'm going to call her Gonzalez because I just do.
I like her better anyway.
She does stupid things with the ladder and allow other people to execute spots on her. She's just sort of staggering around holding a ladder so that people can do stuff that they've planned on doing. Then 3 people lie on a ladder to allow Becky to hit a weak senton onto all of them. Liv hits a molly go round to a group of people. Gonzalez again looks stupid, stuck under a ladder in the corner, right? Remember that? The ladder
was dumb.
She's just stuck on her knees in the corner.
No one was even doing anything with the ladder. The ladder was just leaning on her.
And my next note is, I hate this match to this point. Bad camera angle of Lacey hitting a drop toe hold to Lynch on the ladder, but it didn't actually connect with anything. Lacey gets to the case at one point, but Gonzalez and Morgan join her on the ladder. Liv hits a sunset bomb to Lacey. This actually looked kind of cool. It looked like they were on their way to a botch because they kind of slid down the ladder a bit, but then she did hit the sunset bomb, so that was okay.
Yeah.
Shotzi just falls here, remember, with Alexa Bliss up on her shoulders, kind of falls back into a ladder, which wasn't supposed to happen, and you can even see Shotzi quickly check on Alexa Bliss there.
Yeah, the way they did that was totally like...
And my notes are
and then they replayed it like it was a spot.
Right. And then the ladder's sort of bent from there, and they keep trying to use it when they shouldn't be,
Yes,
right?
It was definitely mangled.
It may just be inexperience, but my note says good old Shotzi, because this is her, again, she is willing to do anything. She's not capable of doing anything, right?
She will do anything, but she's capable of very little.
Yep.
Which has been my experience.
Speaking of Shotzi, Becky moves out of the way. Shotzi hits a senton and lands hard on the ladder. And remember, they showed the slow-mo replay a little bit later, and it shows how she actually overshot the senton and smashed the back of her head off the ladder. Yeah, it looked like she hurt herself there.
Yeah.
Asuka and Gonzalez fall down under a ladder, and I just don't, again, just fall. And my note is, what is going on in this match? Gonzalez sets up a ladder spanning the ring to the announce table. They kind of tease going through it, but Lynch takes them all out and leaves Asuka lying on that ladder bridge. And then we get a senton off of a ladder by Becky Lynch onto...
She just kind of landed seated on it. It was really weird.
Yes, onto Asuka, right, on that ladder bridge.
And the ladder didn't break, which makes it look stupid.
There's just not enough mass on some of these women, right? Everything's a little less impactful because they're just lighter people.
Yeah, maybe it wasn't gimmicked properly either, but I don't know. Yeah, That's probably that too.
Lynch knocks over 2 ladders with 4 people. Then she climbs herself. Liv climbs a ladder beside Lynch. Lynch kicks it over, but Morgan sort of puts her leg out, pushes it off the top rope to push the ladder back into the correct position. Kicks Lynch off the ladder, climbs up, grabs the case. Liv Morgan is your Money in the Bank winner in 17 minutes.
I believe it's Miss Money in the Bank.
I have read some reviews of this just because we did take so long to get around to it. And people liked this match. So here's my theory on this, okay? I think people that say this match or this show was really good, because you will get people to say Money in the Bank was a really good show this year. I don't agree.
No.
But I think it's people who watch Raw and SmackDown every week and maybe even take notes on it, because I'm listening to reviewers, right? That stuff's so bad, especially Raw, from my understanding.
It corrupts you.
Like maybe this felt good in comparison, right?
Yeah.
But as somebody who doesn't watch main roster and tunes in to watch a pay-per-view...
I don't know how you see this match being good. Like, I don't know. There's like so many... They screwed up so much.
They tried. My thing was, like, and I'm not sure a lot of people agree with me because the fans seem to be into this too, but I thought this was awful. Like, mostly awful. I think all 6 of them tried to do too much too often. And I just found it hard to suspend my disbelief. There was like no wrestling in this.
Yeah,
it was just rush to a spot, botch the spot, rush to another one.
Yes, exactly.
Like screw that spot
and I remember
up.
Saying like a lot. It was like a lot of like someone climbed, pulled down, they climb, pulled down, climb down,
yes.
or climb, pull down, like repeated. Like it's like there's not like a lot of like actual wrestling there. It's just like you're moving from spots to like sequence to like a dive spot,
right?
Like, and like they screwed up so many of the spots too. It's not even like they all hit. Like a lot of these were screwed up or didn't look great, or like
people just fell down.
So many issues. Yeah,
in a couple times. Like, so you had people. I have my notes say people behaving nonsensically to set up spots. Gonzalez a lot. Like just kind of staggering around with the ladder and lying in the corner. People missed spots. Gonzalez did. I'm sure Shotzi did. I thought that maybe they were going for something on the announce table with Gonzalez and Asuka that they kind of had to call an audible on. People fell down. There was almost zero actual wrestling. And like I said, my favorite part of this was Lynch and Asuka fighting to start the match. And that lasted like a minute or two before ladders got involved. So I guess the best thing I can say is it was a spectacle. And I think part of it too is people are like, well, these women worked really hard. And I don't disagree with that. But hard work doesn't mean success all the time, right? So
that doesn't like save. That doesn't justify it.
No, and like A for effort for them for sure.
Yeah.
Except I've said maybe Lacey Evans, because remember there was that one where she wanted no part of getting tipped off a ladder. She was supposed to like hit the top ropes and she just
I don't even remember anything she did.
She like stepped off the ladder and leaned on the ropes. It looked like she wasn't really interested.
I remember that now that you mention it. Other than that, I don't remember anything she did. Other than she wore pink camo, and that was bad.
So I couldn't stand this match, and I found myself irritated by this.
It was awful,
and it set me in like an annoyed state of mind for the rest of this show. So
it was really bad.
And you can find people that like this match, and I don't quite understand. Like, yes, the women worked hard and tried really hard. It doesn't mean they executed anything, and I don't think they did here. So I did not like this. Good. We then got a Cody Rhodes segment. I've just summarized all these really quickly. He's rehabbing, and basically he'd be fine if Seth won the Money in the Bank match tonight or something along those lines.
Me too.
Out of their respect thing, right? We then get Robert Lashley taking on Austin Theory. I thought it was
like a cheek thing, like, oh, if he wins, I'll come take his title. Like,
no, it's from that match. They now have each other's respect, I think, is the idea,
that's
right?
Dumb.
So it's Lashley taking on Theory for the coveted, quote-unquote, U.S. Championship. So Theory avoids Lashley early. Lashley slams him and knocks him from the apron to the floor. Theory fights at a fireman's carry, runs Lashley into the ring post to shift the momentum early on. Then Lashley kind of catches Theory coming off the apron, not as clean as he would have liked, but he recovered pretty well. Into a fireman's carry, runs Theory into the ring post. I thought that spot looked really good. We get a clothesline and a big left hand by Theory for a near fall. A super kick that even commentary had to point out was a glancing blow. But then, remember this? Because we were joking about whether it deserved caps locks or not, the chin lock.
Right. Oh my god, yes.
So it got caps lock, lengthy caps lock, chin lock by Theory. Like,
so bad.
Minutes? Is that an exaggeration?
Yeah, no, it was totally minutes.
Then a belly-to-belly overhead by Lashley before a corner clothesline and a spear. Rolling dropkick attempted by Theory, but Lashley catches him, hits a gorilla press power slam. Theory later hits his rolling dropkick for a 2 count. We get an eye gouge by Theory, and he spears Lashley. What? Oh, a town down. I was like, what's a town down mean? Because that's what my notes say, right? So a town down countered into the hurt lock, and basically it's over as Theory taps pretty quickly here.
Oh, the pick. Sorry.
And I say that Lashley slide down the card has him the U.S. Championship after 11 minutes against Austin Theory.
Let us review briefly.
Yes.
So we both got the women's wrong.
Obviously.
Oh, I'd like to say Liv Morgan winning. That's dumb. Remind me to talk about that at the end because I forgot to.
We're both wrong, but we're both right, if you know what I mean. Because she shouldn't have won.
Yeah, she shouldn't have won. No. We would have.
They should have added Shayna Baszler like they added someone to the men's one, and she should have killed everyone.
Yeah, remember when she won the Elimination Chamber and just
killed all of them?
Yeah, she just came in and killed everybody here, and then just won.
What a waste of booked her super hot, and then
I don't even know why they had her kill everyone, because then she just lost. Anyways, I got this right, so.
Yeah, good for you.
Told you. You thought Theory would win because they'd like you, doofus.
Well, I'm kind of right. They have bigger plans for Theory. It's not that they don't like Theory.
No, but you thought he would win this because of that. So,
I know.
Boom.
But I thought because, anyways, he's a bigger deal.
There.
Yes. So Liv is interviewed after winning. She's crying. She's going to celebrate and not think about the cash-in for a while, huh? She's not going to think about the cash-in for a while? Well, how long's a while? An hour?
Yeah.
90 minutes?
Couple hours, give or take.
Anyways, we then get a Miz package. And this is clearly at this point we're already noticing as we're watching this, like, man, there's a lot of filler here, right? Like, clearly they do not have a 4-hour pay-per-view plan this time. They're throwing in packages that are unrelated to anything on this show.
Like, they're just like some generic. That's where Drew McIntyre got one. Like,
yep. So Miz's package is basically everyone hated him when he started, but he proved everybody wrong and became a success. And my questions are, why was this here? Is this just killing time? This seems unnecessary. And the answer is yes. We then get a recap of events leading to Carmella replacing the injured Rhea Ripley in the title match against Bianca Belair. And that match is next. It is Carmella challenging Bianca Belair for the Raw Women's Championship, correct?
Yes.
Nice. Nailed it. So Belair controls Carmella with a waist lock to start. Graves, this is my own personal opinion, Graves should be banned from commentating on his wife's matches. I found him really annoying here.
Yep.
Drop kick and corner spear by Belair.
Grace for him. I remember you used to like him.
He was the best commentator going, and then he got WWE-ified, right? He got into main roster. He got some idiot in his ear telling him what to say, and he got much less interesting.
I still stand by my boy Mara.
Yeah, he was good. Carmella hits a Hurricane Rana, but it's countered into 2 backbreakers from Belair. Carmella then escapes to the floor to avoid some sort of handspring move that was coming from Belair. A stiff shoulder tackle to Carmella on the floor. Carmella snaps Belair across the top rope, lands a super kick to turn the tide here briefly.
Not so super.
No. Several back elbows to Belair as she's pinned against the corner turnbuckles. Bronco Buster by Carmella for 2. Gross. Get rid of that move, please. Pretty cool submission by Carmella. I don't remember what it was.
Actually, I was like, all right, that's kind of cool.
Yeah, like credit where credit's due, man. Hair pull by Carmella to avoid a body slam. Clubbing blows delayed vertical suplex by Belair. Super kick by Carmella for 2. Then Carmella taunts Belair. Big mistake. Belair fires up, hits the KOD for the win.
Yeah, it kind of like just came out of nowhere. She's like, oh, okay.
After 7 minutes. Carmella then attacks Belair after the match and then leaves. So I guess this continues? ? Sad face.
Hopefully not to SummerSlam.
Right. I don't know. I mean, did we even give our thoughts on the... I don't think I gave thoughts on the Theory Lashley match. I didn't. I thought it was a fine match, but the chin lock in the middle was ridiculous. I thought it was fine.
Right? Yeah, but then the chin lock provided a massive drag, but I think I still prefer the chin lock to the opener.
But Lashley, like as usual, showcased crazy power, and Theory does a decent job of being like the...
I like Theory. I wish he got more.
The chicken heel, right? Yeah. So a decent match, I thought, but nothing spectacular. Yeah. Sorry, back to the Belair. This match, this is boring. Pretty much a pay-per-view squash, right? Like, Carmella got very little in 7 minutes here. It's like an extended enhancement match on a pay-per-view, I would say. Right?
Smells like a long match on NXT.
So, yeah, Carmella ran scared, got dominated, got in a few flurries.
How is this a title match on your pay-per-view?
Because they were desperate to replace Rhea Ripley.
Yeah, but like they had other options. Just stick Carmella in the ladder match. It can't get much worse. Like I don't know, like throw in Asuka. I don't care who it is, like anybody else.
At least Belair looked dominant, as she should, right? I think that's the right move. I guess the match was okay,
Yeah.
but
we both picked Belair because as if
it didn't feel like a pay-per-view match,
No,
right?
not at all.
This felt like
No.
it's on TV.
Yeah.
And even for that, it's only decent.
not premium.
The next meaningless segment is Logan Paul has signed and is coming for Miz because he's going to be a babyface because that's the worst idea ever. So why not? I guess let the guy do what he wants and fail as a babyface before he realizes that turning heel's where the money is and probably a lot more fun for him. Wow, this segment was awful. Alexa Bliss, do you remember that segment?
Oh yeah, it was the card ad, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
So it starts out, you think it's a segment, and she's talking to her doll, whatever the doll's name is, and the doll has bought a whole bunch of merch. And it turns out they bought it using a WWE credit card, and they made the mistake of having the crowd still the audio coming through. And as soon as the crowd realized that this was an ad for a credit card and not a segment that mattered, they booed audibly, and I quite enjoyed it, right?
Yeah, I was like, this it's so like this is how you do your ad. Like it was so stupid.
Because it looked like maybe it's something, right? Alexa Bliss lost in the ladder match. Maybe she's gonna like get rid of this stupid doll or
It's
have some
just
sort of meaningful segment, and it's an ad.
It's
for
just
credit.
an ad for their credit card. Like,
And so what was it? The doll bought her a gift, but it was a tiny pair of roller skates.
with the credit card.
And so I don't. And yeah,
So
I just
stupid.
my notes were I'm embarrassed to be writing this. It's kind of funny to hear the crowd boo when they realize this was a commercial, and it definitely was. We then get the only thing you need to watch on this show. Would you disagree with me? Usos versus
yes,
Street
I would
Profits.
agree. Yes.
So this is for the Undisputed Tag Team Championships. So here's my detailed notes. Usos stay stuff before the match, but I wasn't listening. The Profits enter, take a detour, kind of come through the crowd this time. The Street Profits set up for their finisher really early on, but Jimmy rolls to safety. And I noticed Montez Ford has packed on some muscle, since as someone not watching main roster every week, he's gotten significantly bigger, man. He looks even more like a star than usual. Shoulder tackle and an assisted splash by Ford to Jay. Double spine buster to Dawkins before Jimmy hits him with a suicide dive. The Usos suplex Dawkins into the ring post on the outside, which I thought was kind of cool. I don't know if I've seen that before. The Usos then isolate Dawkins, make frequent tags while taunting him. Eventually, Dawson makes the tag to Ford. But Jay, surprisingly, you're expecting a hot tag here. Jay takes immediate control of this with a super kick after Ford comes off the top rope. Jimmy hits a drive-by to Ford, and it's Ford's turn to be isolated by the Usos. So this is about the point where I realized, because this match started off pretty slowly, right? So at this point, I was like, either I'm going to be disappointed by this match because they're working slow, or it's getting a lot of time and they're going to build, right? Which is what ended up happening, thankfully. Jimmy
Usos ring gear is not very good.
Yeah. Jimmy super kicks Dawkins off the apron to prolong the attack on Ford. Ford eventually slingshots straight into an uppercut from Jimmy. Ford finds the energy to suplex Jimmy on the apron, finally tags in Dawkins, who somersaults over the ropes onto the Usos. Flying elbow, 360 splash, enziguri and corkscrew neckbreaker by Dawkins in a pretty nice flurry. Blind tag to Ford. Dawkins pounces Jimmy into a suplex from Ford, which I thought was a pretty cool looking combination move. I don't know if they've been using that at all. Have you seen them use that before?
I don't know.
I liked it anyways. The crowd is now starting to get into this match as the Profits, once they're in control, the pace is picking up, right? And that's not a complaint. The Usos are heels. They don't have to work a fast pace, right? They're just trying to isolate and dominate one person. But now the Profits are in control and things pick up. We get a blockbuster to Jay off Dawkins' shoulders for a near fall. Strike exchange between Jay and Dawkins. Ford ends up taking a double super kick for a near fall. He then clears the ring of the Usos, flies over the turnbuckle. As he does, he just leaps over the corner right onto both sides.
I saw that coming,
on the
but
floor.
it's all right.
Always looks cool. Then we get from the heavens to Jay, but Jimmy makes the save. The crowd is now really into this match. All four square off. Jimmy super kicks Dawkins to the floor, dumps him over the timekeeper's table to take care of him. We get a double super kick to Ford, followed by a 3D, and the Usos retain their, whatever it is, both championships after 23 minutes. And we come back in commentary and they pull up the replay, are focusing on Montez Ford having his shoulder up on the pinfall, right? That it was actually should not have been counted, but was. Thoughts?
I thought the crowd was pretty into it, which
second half
that
of
helped
this,
me a lot
right
because the
into it.
crowd got really hot. So that helped me a lot.
They did.
I think they got like a lot of time, which was good because it did kind of like build. I think it was actually like turned out to be a good match, like for main roster.
Easily my match of the night.
Yeah, there's
Pretty
not really any
easily.
competition. I'd
Yeah.
say. Like, I thought it was really good. I think, Ford looked really good. Like the Usos were good too. Like it works. I think the finishes are because then I think they're doing a guest ref match at SummerSlam, so it's cool. I really liked it because it built. It was a little slow at first, but and when Ford gets hot, I think like they get super into it. So I think it benefits a lot. Like the crowd reaction really helped me because
Yes.
it's a week ago, so I'm trying to
Because Usos were kind of started out methodical. They isolated one, then they isolated
once
the
Usos
other.
get going too, I really like the Usos.
No, turned out to be really good.
I'm trying to remember. It's kind of hard like a week ago, but I remember really liking it.
Yeah, it was an excellent match. Got a lot of time. Again, you had the slow, methodical heel Usos trying to focus, isolating one at a time, which made sense. Then the Profits kind of got rolling. Energy picked up. Everybody got into it. And it kind of stayed at that level for the rest of the match. So I thought everybody looked good. I was noticing Dawkins' selling was really good, I thought, in this. So easily match of the show up until this point. And spoiler alert, it was still my match of the show by the end of this. Right?
We both picked. Wait, did we?
I believe so. I can't imagine. I know I picked
Profits.
Yeah, I did. Then we get a Kevin Owens package to kill more time because he has nothing to do with this show whatsoever. And then we get a quick recap of the Ronda Rousey Natalya Neidhart situation. Bless you. That got us to this match tonight. And that's the next match. It's Natty Neidhart versus Ronda Rousey for the SmackDown Women's Championship.
I remember the last time I heard Natalya Neidhart. What the hell?
Yeah, sorry. I'm old. We get holds and counters. Basement dropkick by Natty, countered into an ankle lock. Discus clothesline by Natty. Sleeper by Natty. So few notables several minutes into this is my note. That can't be good. Hip toss by Rousey, but Natty holds on, gets an armbar applied instead. Abdominal stretch reversed by Rousey, then reversed by Natty. So boring are my notes. I agree with that.
Yes, it was so boring. I hate Natty.
Elbow, kick, clothesline, judo throw by Rousey. It looks like slow motion, and Jack even noticed at this point that the crowd is dead. Like, Rousey to me just looked like slow.
Yeah.
Like, there was no urgency to anything she was doing.
Perhaps like one Marina Shafir.
I don't think she cares. I don't think she really wants to be there. That's what it looks like to me. Is
I feel like she did in the first one, right? Because you can see that
I heard rumors that she
was
was fine with giving up the title to Liv Morgan because Liv Morgan's really nice and that Rousey didn't really want it. She doesn't want that profile right now. Sharpshooter by Rousey, but Natty gets to the ropes. And this is my notes say Rousey seems gassed to me. Like she's mouth breathing, she's moving slowly. I don't know what her fitness level's at. Far be it for me to criticize that, but she looked gassed to me. Natty sends Rousey to the floor. Rousey tweaks her knee. So this becomes the target of this match. Anyways, I'll get to that in a minute. So the knee is sore. Sharpshooter on the apron. Rousey rolls through, sends Natty into the ring post. Natty barely beats the 10 count at this point. Rousey's knee won't allow her to hit the Piper's Pit, but she counters the sharpshooter into an ankle lock instead. Another sharpshooter countered again by Rousey, this time into an armbar with her ankles crossed around Natty's neck, which I thought was a cool variation, right? And Natty ends up tapping out. Rousey retains the title after 12 minutes. Liv Morgan's music hits.
Which we predicted because obviously.
Liv's music hits. She runs down and she is in fact cashing in her briefcase. Can I ask you something? Do you think after watching this match that Ronda Rousey sold the knee enough to believe that Liv Morgan,
no.
Because that was supposed to be the story, right? That Rousey's knee was so destroyed that Liv could come down and take advantage. And I don't think the match told that story effectively to me. Of course, she did the knee tweak and Natty attacked it a bit. But I don't know. the way they've presented Ronda Rousey, it did not look like enough for her to be taken out in seconds by Liv Morgan. Am I wrong?
No, I didn't even think of that, but that makes total sense.
Liv cashes in. We get an immediate ankle lock by Rousey, and then Liv kicks Ronda's bad knee, and that's enough for Liv to roll up Ronda Rousey and Liv.
The laziest way to get this
right.
So stupid.
Liv becomes the new SmackDown Women's Champion. Rousey hesitates but hands over the title and hugs Liv Morgan. The initial match was slow and boring with a predictable outcome. Sucked the energy out of the building that had been built by the match before this, right? The crowd was hyped and into the last half of the tag match, and this just pulled the energy away because I've used this analogy before. It looked like they were wrestling underwater to me.
Yes.
Right? They were doing stuff, but it was like 2/3 the speed.
Honestly, I could compare this to Shafir on Dynamite, which
it wasn't good. I thought Rousey looked much worse than in her first run that I remember seeing.
I think this definitely puts Rousey like a Brock Lesnar, where like it's like because like when Brock doesn't care,
right,
it tanks.
right.
When Rousey didn't care here, it tanked.
I thought she looked slow, kind of sloppy, and Natalya. We've said this before. This may not be popular opinion. I think she's one of the most overrated people in WWE. She knows wrestling moves. She knows moves, but she can't really wrestle, is what I would suggest, right? She knows how to hit some moves,
which
but
I'm amazed she doesn't,
because
she's a heart.
She is. Well, I think she gets by so much on that reputation, right? She's part of that family, and she's been here forever, and she's
tenured.
Workhorse,
she's
blah,
a heart.
Blah, blah.
Like that's it.
Like find me an outstanding Natty match. Somebody tell me an amazing match she's had, and I'll go watch it because I'm not sure I've seen one.
I don't know.
I guess I'm kind of happy for Liv Morgan. She's a fresh face at the top, but I don't have much confidence that they're going to make her title reign meaningful.
Here's what one of two things happens. Either one, we get a decently length run that isn't great. So we either get the Big E scenario from last year. Right. Where it's a somewhat lengthy run,
but lackluster nonetheless.
But lackluster.
Yep.
Or we get a Nikki Ash scenario where she cashes in like really close to winning. Because reminder, Nikki Ash cashed in the night before, or the night after, not quite the same, but similar. She gets a short run, drops it like we'll say around SummerSlam. SummerSlam, she's defending against Rousey. I can't see Rousey winning it back, so maybe not at SummerSlam, but I could see her having a pretty short run. Because honestly, I don't think Liv's very good. My friend,
she's not.
My
she's
friend
okay.
who loves main roster, he loves Liv. I think she sucks.
She gets a bit of a bump because people find her adorable and she's sweet and nice, right? Doesn't mean she's good in the ring, man.
She's not. And she lacks much.
She's like Alexa Bliss level to me. Like fine.
Alexa Bliss used to be better, I thought, or like maybe it's because of her character too, but like because I remember the goddess thing was pretty good. But anyways, I don't think Liv's very good. She's incredibly overrated. She lacks much character. So I'm not super interested. I don't really want a title run from her.
Right.
And I don't think it makes sense. But
we don't watch the product, so whatever. Do what you want.
Yeah.
We'll see you at the next pay-per-view.
Yep.
Then we get a Drew McIntyre package to kill some time because at this point I noted we're only at an hour and a half with one match left, so they have to fill some time here. It's crazy how this show is shorter than their weekly show. Like this premium live
shorter
event
than Raw.
is shorter than every Monday.
Right, which that is so weird.
So this is the main event Money in the Bank match between Riddle, Seth Rollins, Omos, Madcap Moss, Drew McIntyre, Sheamus, and Sami Zayn. And Pierce comes down, right? Adam Pierce. Is he a heel or a babyface authority figure?
I think he's more babyface.
So then why was he so happy to it? Like he came down and he was
I guess because it's like a Vince thing.
I guess. And that's
because Theory's Vince's guy, and it's probably like Vince being like.
But if he's a face, why can't he just come down looking upset and be like, "Well, I'm being forced to add this person."
I don't know.
But anyways,
I don't know, nor do I care that much.
He comes down and he adds Theory to this match, who is now.
Well, I'll go with Austin Theory.
He's been liberated from the U.S. Championship, so he's thrown into this
match.
That
is not true. He's getting a rematch with Lashley at SummerSlam.
Fair enough. Of course he is.
Yeah.
So.
Some would even say a contractual rematch.
It's kind of anticlimactic because when Pierce comes out to announce he's adding somebody, I immediately start thinking it's going to be somebody new, or even
why would you think that?
Or even like
that sounds interesting.
There's like a 1.5% of me that's like, is Cody back and ready somehow? Like what's? Oh no, it's just Theory. Who cares, right? Like I was kind of like a letdown by that. Anyways, let's get through this one. Omos dominates everyone right away. Obviously, leaves the ring to get a ladder. Rollins and Theory try to run him over with a ladder, but Omos takes them out instead.
Oh, so much Omos.
Early on, yeah. He then counters a Riddle guillotine into an awkward-looking slam. We get a Claymore to Omos that sends him to the floor. Sheamus and McIntyre brawl as Theory tries to sneak up the ladder, but he gets caught and beaten down by both of them. Rollins knocks Sheamus and McIntyre to the floor with the ladder before throwing the ladder onto them. Riddle counters a Rollins pedigree into a backdrop onto a ladder, followed by a Broton onto the ladder as well. Corner spear by Moss, throwing Zayn into the ladder.
Moss or Omos?
Moss, not Omos. Omos, though, pulls Riddle and someone else off a ladder before chokeslamming Theory. Moss and Drew dump Omos off a ladder. I put dump in quotation marks, which I assume means Omos basically stepped off of the ladder. I doubt he really fell too far. So then we have the
Can't
spot.
imagine he's fallen off anything.
Because Omos, I don't know if you know this, he's really big. So
Is he?
He's the automatic favorite to win everything because big, right?
That makes sense.
So they need to do what they do with big guys, which is bury them under a pile of ladders, right? Outside the ring. So that happens. Then we get 4 guys on ladders. 3 of them are knocked off, and Theory gets caught by Moss and hit with a fallaway slam. Zayn gets powerbombed by Moss onto a ladder spanning the corner. That looked really painful, man. Like, Sami Zayn just took that like a champ. White noise to McIntyre after nearly grabs the case himself. We get a draping in the ladder DDT by Riddle to Sheamus after Sheamus misses a brogue kick. Floating bro by Riddle off a ladder onto a group of people. Omos comes back finally, takes out everybody because he's big. Choke bomb by Omos to Theory. Haluva kick to Omos from Sami Zayn. Rollins stomps Omos on the apron, and everybody pitches in, and they powerbomb Omos through the announce table. Actually looked pretty good. I thought that was a pretty good visual. They all brawl. Sammy tries to sneak away, but Drew ends up catching him. Future shock by Drew to Sheamus. He sets up the ladder on Sheamus, sort of trapping him underneath. Drew climbs, but I was like, Butch? Who's Butch? But that's correct, right?
Peter Doom.
Butch runs out, climbs onto Drew's back on the ladder, back down to the mat, and Sheamus hits Drew with the high knee. Drew now is trapped under the ladder, but he sort of bench presses it with Sheamus on it, and Sheamus falls off. Sammy dumps Sheamus and Drew off of a ladder, climbs up, gets his hands on the case, but Moss climbs up and shoves him off. Rollins then tips Moss off the ladder, climbs up himself. Rollins and Riddle are on separate ladders. Rollins knocks Riddle down, but climbs back up, hits an RKO to Rollins off the ladder, which did look cool, I must say. Riddle slowly climbs the ladder.
Like how Rollins sold it.
As Theory scurries to the other side. Booyah punches, and Riddle gets pushed off the ladder. Pretty simply, Theory just grabs the briefcase and wins the Money in the Bank after 26 minutes. So, I don't know about you. I will say that this one was better than the women's match, for sure. But I don't think this was a top-tier Money in the Bank match.
That has to kind of be a given at this point.
But then again, like, if you look at the lineup, right? Money in the Bank, to me, there has to be, like, some sort of flippy people or people that will, like Kevin Owens, right? He'll do anything. So this is like, Rollins is not a Riddle's not a high flyer by any means. Rollins can be. Omos isn't. Moss isn't. McIntyre isn't. Sheamus isn't. And Sami Zayn can be. So you have a lot of, like, guys that are just ground wrestlers, right? In a ladder match. So I don't understand what they were doing here. So they kind of got what they put together, right? Omos's involvement took away from this for me. Just too much. Again, people pushing people off of ladders was the theme tonight, it seemed like. There were a few good spots, people going through tables and things that looked good. And again, everybody worked hard, but that doesn't always mean success, right? I was only really into a few stretches of this match. Theory winning is no surprise since he's Vince's guy, storyline and in real life, it seems. And despite all of Vince's current legal issues, as you talked about in the news, he is still head of creative, so this was his call and not a surprise.
Absolutely.
So I thought this was an okay ladder match, right? Like, there was nothing memorable about this to me. I won't remember anything from this next year. So I don't know. What did you think?
I don't know. I didn't know. I thought obviously it's like a dumb trope, but I thought they kind of tossed Omos decently through the table. Like,
that looked good.
They kind of chucked
that
him.
Spot I was fine with.
Yeah. And like the Super RKO was cool, but other than, like, there's not a lot of notable spots, and I don't love Theory just coming in and, like,
right.
I don't know, like, there's so many opportunities where, like, they could have had the right thing, and they keep screwing it up. Like, I don't, like, they have, whether Vince likes Theory or not, like, I don't blame him. I think Theory is good, and he'll be great eventually. But he's not believed. They've hardly built him. Even with the Money in the Bank, which rarely has ever failed, I do not buy him beating Roman Reigns.
Right.
Or Brock Lesnar, for that matter, for the title.
No, I agree.
Provided Brock Lesnar wins, which would
not
be
the way
nightmare.
he's been presented to this
exactly.
point.
I don't buy it at all. Which brings me to my point. Why not Rollins?
Oh boy.
Why not?
I told you. You're thinking logically. You need to extract your logical.
It's not even like he is their guy. Like he's good, but he's so their style now. Like he's been there for so long.
Vince sees him as just a tier below. There's Roman, there's Brock, and then there's everybody else.
What is Theory on their tier? Like
Theory, I think, is on the Rollins tier, and they'll like cup of coffee in the main event, but not staying there. I don't know.
It's like,
I could be wrong.
There's so many chances where Rollins should have gotten the spot. Like I can point to like Royal Rumble, Elimination Chamber, Money in the Bank.
But he's not.
But it's stupid because they can't book for crap.
I agree.
I don't know what the end game with Theory is like, and like what he's gonna take a loss to Lashley because he's got Money in the Bank, which means you take losses.
That is true.
And then
that's a very
like,
good point.
I
You
don't-
do. You lose until you cash in, basically.
Right. I don't see him like. Is Drew McIntyre gonna win in? Then they at Clash of the Castle, and then he cashes in on Drew McIntyre to screw him over. Like,
No.
is that what's gonna like? I don't see that happening. I don't see like how does it happen?
It could be just a testing the waters with Theory as a main eventer, right?
Which I think that's such a waste.
Yeah,
like,
I don't.
Like with Theory, I don't see how they do it. Whereas with Rollins, I see exactly how it could go.
But it won't.
And it won't.
Nope.
It's so stupid.
Overall, I thought this show fit into like the barely worthwhile category. The women's Money in the Bank match was a frustrating mess, I thought. Belair Carmella wasn't much more than an enhancement match, really. Rousey Natty was slow and uninteresting. Lashley Theory was fine, I guess, and the men's Money in the Bank was, I would say, pretty good, to be generous. So the only shining light in this show was the Tag Team Championship match, which easily stole the show, easily the best thing on this show. And man, this is sad for me because in its heyday, Money in the Bank was one of my favorite shows of the year. And I would say for me, I had put it in the big four, right? I said get Survivor Series out of there, and Money in the Bank I thought was an awesome pay-per-view. But this was a like less than mediocre version of that, I think. Main roster WWE just isn't for me or for you, I guess. And if it weren't for the Usos and Street Profits, I would have felt like I wasted my time watching this show. So I gave it a C-, which might even be a bit generous. Like I don't know what there was to talk about outside of the tag team match, right? This was just a very boring, unimpressive show. So a C-. If you went lower than that, I wouldn't blame you. What did you give it?
Hold on. Before I do that, I'll go through the picks quick, just so that I don't forget.
Yep.
So we both picked Belair, so that's 1-1. 2-2 because we both picked Rousey.
Right.
3-2 me because you didn't pick Usos.
I did not.
4-2 me because you didn't pick Lashley.
I did not.
We didn't get the women's right, either of us, and neither of us got the men's right, so I win by 2.
Ooh, that's a usually we only win or lose by 1, so losing by 2 is a butt kicking. Good job.
Yeah.
You win.
And the Money in the Bank, it's like, oh, they're so stupid. Anyways, okay, so both, I'll just kind of, like, cause I'm looking off the table here. Both women's title matches sucked.
They did.
Especially the SmackDown one, actually. And, like, that was just bad. I don't know. It was so boring. Cash in, don't care.
Yeah, that's supposed to be exciting, right? And that was just kind of okay.
Just happened. I thought the tag match was pretty great, all things considered. I liked that more than I expected to. And that was the only thing worth seeing a bit. I wouldn't, like, you just don't have to go to your way to see it, but I think it's the only thing worth seeing if you wanted to. Theory Lashley was fine, but then hit that the lull was way too long. Women's Money in the Bank absolutely sucked in every sense of the word. And
it might go on my list, to be honest.
The men's Money in the Bank was a letdown and the wrong result because they can't do anything right at all ever.
Right.
I'll give it a D+.
Yep, it was not a strong show. And again, people that I see giving it high ratings, I think you're comparing it to the nonsense you watch on Mondays every night and saying, oh, it was shorter than that and it was a little more action than that, so it's pretty good then. But I think in a vacuum, that's not a good show, right? Anyways, that's going to bring us back on our normal track, which is where we take a look at this week's episode of AEW Dynamite.
We open the show with Wardlow challenging Scorpio Sky for the TNT title in a massive, air quotes, street fight. Giant,
quote unquote, for sure.
Quotations. I'm going to change my notes so that it says that because I think that's appropriate. Whoops. Hold on. All right. There we go. So, notables, American Top Team were distracting Wardlow on the outside. Then Sky shoved Wardlow into steel stairs before the American Top Team guys stomp Wardlow until Sky backs them off to continue. One of them I recognize as KM. I think he was in Impact when Lashley was affiliated with American Top Team.
Yes.
So, that's
You noticed him. Yeah.
There's a Swanton Bomb by Wardlow. Big jump. Wardlow goes for a powerbomb, but Lambert sends the American Top Team guys in. Wardlow takes them all out, finishing with holding one guy in a military press, throwing him onto the pile on the outside. Sky takes advantage of the situation, hits Wardlow with the TNT title for a 2 count. Oh my god, he used a weapon. Wardlow avoids the TKO, shoves Sky and Lambert on the apron, hits a spine buster, and Wardlow wins 3 power bombs, wins the title.
Yeah, I'm not sure why this was labeled a street fight. I guess the crowd got what they wanted in a dominant Wardlow win, but the match itself was nothing really special, right? I thought the MMA guys look really weak. They attack one at a time, and then they're taken out by punches and kicks and never are seen from again, right? So they kind of looked as bad as like jobber security guys at some point, right? So AEW has put on several entertaining street fights over the years, but this wasn't one of them. There was nothing about this that was a street fight, I don't think. This was essentially an enhancement match for a championship. And I'm not sure how I feel about it, but it's not super great, that's for sure. This is the issue. It's tough because I want to praise AEW on one hand because they've made a new star in Wardlow, right? And that's something that
I think they
WWE
have.
refuses to do. But they've booked him so super strong in this build. How do you not have him dominate everybody? And in the process, he has to somewhat disrespect the rest of the roster, right? Like Scorpio Sky got dominated here, and he's supposed to be your fighting champion, and he just got killed. So I thought the street fight stipulation was there to like.
It was totally wasted.
I thought it was there to give Sky a chance, right, to be more competitive because
kind of was, but like
not really. Just brought a bunch of guys with him to ringside who got involved, right, for the most part. But I don't know. They went a different route with this quote unquote street fight. I don't know why you would call it a street fight when it's not, but you knew Wardlow was going to win. You figured it was in a dominant fashion, so I guess that we got what we expected. But I didn't love it.
No, I thought it was okay, I guess. I think it was at least a little better than typical Wardlow squash. Sky did, I guess he got like a bit more of a chance because he had like guys getting involved. And that brings me to my biggest gripe, which you've mentioned. It was labeled as a street fight, and they set that for the stipulation, which is fine. But then it was not all a street fight. Sure, they didn't wear street gear, but that's only for if you're smart and you actually honor the stipulation.
Where were the jeans
to its
and knee
fullest
pads?
extent? But that doesn't always happen.
Right.
So that's forgivable. But even putting that fact aside, this is not all a street fight. You could have done like a ref bump in this match. Like you could have had a normal match, done an extended ref bump, and this match would have been the exact same.
Correct.
Like honestly,
Yep, you're right.
You could have had all the shenanigans and the belt shot would not be different because aside from a couple of points of interference from the American Top Team and the one time Sky hit Wardlow with the belt, you would not know the difference between this match and a normal match.
Because this happens in AEW, right? Like there's all kinds of stuff goes on in a normal
When it's
match.
like other than the refs like actually allowing this
Yes.
to happen, like other than that, then like nothing. The match was okay, but they made next to no use of the stipulation, which could have been cool in my opinion if they had used it, but they didn't. So
the celebration after was kind of more interesting, right? With the confetti everywhere and whatever, like that was cool. But yeah, the match itself was just okay, I thought.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was totally wasted. Like I don't know why they had that stipulation. It wasn't bad, but I don't like
because when AEW says street fight, I'm like, oh, cool, their street fights are really fun. Nope, not this one.
I remember the Bucks were streaker once. Anyways, next we got John Moxley promo. He says people think tonight Brody King will surprise him, catch him off guard. They won't know what kind of monster he's dealing with. They must have forgotten what kind of monster they have with him. He talks about 10 days ago he beat in a man he respects in Tanahashi. He was using like forks and sticks and blood and guts for fun. Blood and guts was like golfing on a Sunday for him, and he decided to sign on to defend his title. And he knows exactly who Brody King is. He says Blackpool Combat Club detests violence and how much you want it. He finishes with the line, "Step on or get stepped on."
Yeah, he did his usual strong job, and what he does here, we always talk about this. He builds his opponent, right? He talks about how tough his opponent is, and sort of raises interest in the match, even though we all know what the outcome of this match is. And I think other wrestlers need to take note, and WWE specifically. Put your opponent over before a match and it makes you look more impressive when you beat them. To talk about how they're useless and you're going to dominate them and then you do, right, doesn't really help anybody.
Exactly.
So he's talking about what a monster Brody King is and how hard it's going to be to beat him. That makes sense to me, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this is what Mox does really well and he did it well here, I thought.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like that. Like it was definitely one of the typical Mox promos where he puts him over. I like he always keeps in character when he does that, right? So I think it works really well. It builds him as a bit of a threat, and King is a monster already, so I think Mox kind of icing on the top really helps. And he touched on that. I think Mox can handle it because he's literally stabbing a guy in the head with forks last week. So I thought that was should be an interesting kind of styles clash because they're a bit different, but also pretty similar. Like it'll be a slugfest for sure.
For sure.
I think it'll be interesting. Cool first challenge and a bit of spotlight for King, which I think is cool because I can't see him getting a ton.
Nope.
You know. Next we have a Tony Nese Mark Sterling promo. So Sterling's got a promo, petition. against Swerve
Swerve,
Strickland.
right? Yeah.
So it's called the petition against Swerve Strickland, the pass.
Oh, nice.
So they approach Keith and say Swerve is a snake and how he eliminated Lee. So probably trying to like pry at that. Lee says they're still partners. So, and they may have some trust issues, but they're still partners. So they're still winning. So he walks off and kind of ditches them.
Yeah, I thought this was a simple, quick way to further Mark Sterling as like the whiny heel, and it's kind of helping remind us that Lee and Swerve did have issues in the Battle Royal, if we forgot, right?
I kind of like that, like, it's realistic, like, they're, like, it was a minor issue, so, like, they're, like, kind of, like, trying to get, like, it's not perfect, but they're, like, kind of, like, working through it, so I kind of like it.
And, like, of course you're going to take the opportunity to try and eliminate me. I get that. I would have done the same thing kind of thing, right? So I'm not exactly sure where Sterling and Nice's issue are with Swerve. Should I remember that, or is it that from the internet? I feel like it's from the internet.
The only thing I can point to is Swerve's first match, remember, was against Nice, because 205 Live Boys. I don't... It's probably some Battle Royal thing or something like that.
So I would have liked some reminder of what Swerve and Nice's issues are, but I thought this was fine.
Yeah, I thought it was okay. I must have missed something on Darker Rampage, like you said, because I have no idea why this is happening.
Right.
Lee spoke fine. I'm glad to see like the dissension from Battle Royal hasn't like killed the team.
Agreed.
And I hope that they kind of continue in this way, because I think that works.
Me too.
Next we get Christian Cage with Luchasaurus, not versus Luchasaurus.
When have you been as interested to see Christian come out? It's been a while, huh?
I don't know.
He's
Never.
suddenly very interesting.
Never at all, ever.
Right.
Cage says they're hot off the heels of Blood and Guts, and he is the Cage everyone's talking about. That was a cool line. He says everyone wanted to know why he did what he did. Now everyone wants to know why Luchasaurus stayed aligned with him. Matt Hardy comes down and interrupts because sure.
Right? Shoehorn.
I guess.
I felt like.
He says Cage is unreal. He's the Michael Jordan of being an asshole. And he says Jungle Boy was his friend. Jungle Boy trusted Cage. Cage screwed him. He didn't deserve that. Cage says Matt's pretending that he knows Jungle Boy like Cage or Luchasaurus do. And he says Matt's starting to make his brother sound like the sober one.
Yeah,
I love
awesome.
that so much. That's gotta be one of my favorite lines, like in recent memory. That earned some pretty loud a-hole chants, which I love that. That was awesome. Matt says he sees in Cage wants to use Luchasaurus in his last years to make more money. Because this makes more money,
I guess.
Matt did that in HFO, and he hates that he did that. And he says his life has been a mess lately, and maybe he deserves that. He's out here to make sure no one gets taken advantage of. Cage says Matt's out here because of his ego. He will do and use anything to be in his headlines. He mentions like he uses his full family for like the deletions, and he'll even turn a blind eye to Jeff's issues for one last run.
Yep.
Boom, got him. That is not exclusive to Matt, I believe.
Yeah.
Cage says Matt screwed up brother isn't the biggest embarrassment to his family. It's Matt. Matt attacks Cage until Luchasaurus intervenes with a headbutt, sends Matt to the outside, and sends him in the steel stairs. Delivers a boot with Matt against the ring post, and then choke slams him to the timekeeper's table, which is pretty good.
Yeah. Few notes from me. I got a serious like Undertaker Kane vibe from Luchasaurus's entrance, right? Like this big monster with flames and the music and everything familiar. I really enjoyed this because I think Christian hitting on things from real life and just being an absolute jerk about it are really entertaining and works for me. But it felt like they really shoehorned a relationship between Matt Hardy and Jungle Boy, right? Like for some reason, just I think to obviously have Matt be fodder for Luchasaurus, which is fine. But as long as they keep allowing Christian to tap into these real life issues and insult people, I'm on board because he's now attacked Jungle Boy's family and Matt Hardy's family, right? And I've enjoyed both of them quite a bit. And this formula's simple, right? Christian mouths off. He has a massive Luchasaurus fight his battles for him. And that's just a tried and true formula, and it's working for me here. If I could nitpick a little bit, Christian, the goal of him coming out here was to explain why Luchasaurus stayed with him, right? And we got nothing on that topic. So again, him coming out to clarify things, not clarifying anything, but being really funny in insulting people. So I'm on board for this still.
Yeah. I like this front even better than the last one. I thought the lines with Jeff Hardy were brutal, but they were really funny.
They were good.
And not far from the truth. And Jeff Hardy kind of deserves that. That was pretty funny. I can definitely say this character shift has revived him. I'm enjoying it a lot.
For sure.
Promos are good. Gets even better when he starts ripping on their family to the point where I'm actually laughing. I think it's really funny. And it's good. He's actually like really good at it.
And he's wearing a turtleneck again.
Of
course.
And he can just say all this stuff. And Luchasaurus looks sick too, because then he'll just beat up anyone who has an issue Cage.
Exactly.
Not only is Luchasaurus black clad, but then he's also he'll beat up anyone who's got an issue with Cage, which I like a lot. We still haven't heard Luchasaurus is teamed with Cage, so that's a bit of a nitpick, like you said. But I very much enjoyed what we got here, so I'm okay with that. Hardy was there. And I hope we get more explanation next week because I think so far this is progressing really nicely.
And I'm just entertained right now. Every time Christian comes out, I'm entertained. So
it's a Christmas miracle.
Great to say.
Mm-hmm. Next we got Blood and Guts recap package with some highlights from the match, brief talking heads involved. I think it's the talking heads were taken post match, so
yeah, I wouldn't really pay much attention to that. To be honest,
it was solid. 2.0 looked brutal. It's like
oh my God,
dry blood and whatnot. Like,
looked crazy.
Looked brutal.
Yeah.
Next there was a Claudio Hager interview. They had a no physicality agreement. I didn't take notes on this because I didn't care. I was gonna try to find borrow from someone, but I don't know, with the whole Wi-Fi thing, I did not. So
they're gonna fight. They're both gonna win.
Their match is next week. I don't want to watch it.
I thought that's a logical first opponent for Claudio to defeat, right?
Also, Hager name dropped WWE. He said the thing.
Yeah, I thought Claudio sounded good, and Hager didn't sound bad, which is about the nicest thing you can say about him.
I thought Hager was okay by Hager standards, but he's never that great. I thought Claudio was solid. I liked him.
Yeah, it was.
I didn't love Hager.
Solid little promo.
Mm-hmm.
Quick build to a match to get Claudio a win.
Claudio's all right. Not a match I want. We'll see soon though. So.
Yep.
Yay. Real Americans implode. Yay. As both of them are American, and you can't tell me otherwise.
And wasn't that they were the group with what's his face, right?
Zeb Coulter.
Zeb Coulter, that's right. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And that's
We the People?
That's when Hager got caught with a car full of drugs, right?
It?
Yeah, I think he was about to be pushed or whatever. And
really?
Yeah, I think that's what it was.
Really?
Yeah, man.
What?
Yeah.
I don't know that. I have no idea what you're talking about.
I'll look it up while you talk about the next match.
Next we go to Keith Lee and Swerve Strickland, who don't have a tag team name. I don't know what you're talking about. Versus Butcher and Blade. Butcher had like tassels on his boots, like the Young Bucks kind of thing, but they're black. He had like the horse. I don't know. It sounded like the cowboy. I don't know, the tassels or whatever. After Blade is shouting at Lee, he slaps Lee, and then Lee responds by dropping him with a headbutt. Tags out, and Blade tags out to Butcher. Swerve and Lee do a double team where Swerve is sitting on the top rope using his legs to hold Blade open for the double chop by Lee, which is kind of cool. Lee beals Blade onto Butcher. We get a fireman's carry drop by Lee, and he drops him right into he hits a rolling elbow, and Swerve hits the spinning enziguri. I really love that combo. Blade pulls Swerve into the way, so Lee accidentally hits Swerve with the pounce. Butcher throws Swerve into a nasty knee from Blade, which was really cool.
Really good,
Actually, that looked awesome. Then Butcher followed with a big lariat. Blade got a 2 count off of that with Lee breaking the pin. In a frenzy, Swerve jumps off of Lee's stomach, who was laying down, hits Butcher with a house call. That kick I really like.
It's cool.
And then Lee and Swerve went with that Swerve Stomp Spirit Bomb combo, which looks awesome.
It does.
And so that was a nice frenzy at the end.
It was.
Next, we had there was the post-match promo after the Team Taz came out. Hobbs said they were really starting to piss them off, asked if they think they'll allow them to come on to continue to disrespect them. Stark says they've been really nice because they could have ended their careers on the mic or online. They are levels ahead of Swerve and Lee. Stark is getting really heated. He says they'll beat him right now. He says they want to talk about who is the best. And on cue, the Bucks come out. Matt says Ricky might as well queued up their music for them. He says the tag division is on fire. And then let's not forget who's at the table. Nick says Team Taz and the Lee Swerve team, who shall remain nameless, are good, and they had a great 4.5 star match at Double or Nothing, and that is an off night for the Bucks.
That was a good
They
line.
didn't win it, yeah, and the Bucks beat Jurassic Express weeks later, valid. Matt proposes another 3-way tag match for the titles as FTR chants Girl Ladder, coincidentally.
Mm-hmm.
And Nick says they're better than them in response, and then Matt makes the challenge for Fyter Fest next week. What did you think of the match and also the promo?
Solid TV tag match. I thought there was some communication issues early on, and not just between Swerve and Lee, like storyline wise, but actually. The final few minutes of this I thought were really entertaining, and they're sort of continuing to tease issues with Swerve and Lee. Promo wise, I thought Starks was fantastic. He got super fired up here. I thought he was really good. The Bucks made some good points in their douchey way, right? That line about the 4.5 star match was pretty good. I still feel like the other two teams, meaning the two involved in this match, need to be elevated a little bit to be further, to be legit contenders to the Bucks, but they're kind of on their way. And I also don't love to nitpick heel fighting champions, right? To me, that's supposed to be a babyface gimmick, not like you're heels and you still want to fight everybody, right?
Well, maybe the Bucks are so cocky they're just like, I don't care.
I guess.
And it's the Bucks, so I will allow it. It's not like it's Mandy Rose where I think she sucks.
Right.
I thought this was pretty good. Given I expected no more than just an enhancement match, it was still mostly that. Yes, I'm not gonna deny that. It was largely that, but I think towards the end, I thought I picked up with some cool double teams from Swerve and Lee. Then Butcher and Blade seemed to flip a switch a bit with some cool stuff of their own. Like when they came in with some cool double teams, I was like, all right, this is cool. Not incredible match, but it was pretty good. Like considering what I thought it was gonna be.
Yep.
The aftermath was solid. Team Test Promo was solid. I like when Starks was he was just losing his crap. I thought it was kind of funny.
He was good.
And instantly, just the Bucks came out when Starks was mentioning the best. As soon as he said it, I thought that was kind of interesting. While it has been very, very common trope lately, I'm still interested in a 3-way match. They've been doing that.
Yeah, I'm not sick of them. I don't hate them.
I'm not sick of them. I'm just I'm kind of noticing it was a new concept of Revolution. They did at Double or Nothing. Then they technically did one at Forbidden Door. Now they're doing here. I'm not complaining because I don't think it's getting tired yet. I don't think it's getting old yet. It's another great trio teams. I really like the crowd that we're chanting for FTR. I think it's a nice tidbit to build the feud. It's not like AEW is doing anything, but that's showing that there is going to be money there.
And I think they're sort of telling the Bucks that's who you're supposed to be facing, right? Stop taking all these lesser teams.
Maybe that's why they're doing this too.
They're fighting champions to duck the major challengers.
Right.
That'd be cool.
And what? So Death Before Dishonor is at the end of July. If I had to guess, early September is All Out. Oh, I think it's September 4th.
Mm-hmm.
So I think between those two shows, you can build FTR Bucks, right? So I think then you still have time for FTR can retain against the Briscoes, then go into All Out as triple champs, come out with 4 belts.
That'd be sweet.
Each. I think that'd be really cool. I think they'll definitely get their own title match. I hope it's at All Out. But this should be a pretty good match.
I agree.
Triple or Nothing's an interesting name.
So I've got my Swagger update. You ready?
Oh, okay.
WWE star Jack Swagger arrested on traffic and marijuana violations. This is February 20th, 2013. So where was the important part? Swagger, of course, returned to WWE earlier this month after a lengthy hiatus and has quickly skyrocketed to the top of the company, fresh with a xenophobic gimmick and a kayfabe Uncle Zeb Coulter who is dynamic on the mic, blah, 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 blah. Right.
What?
Against any other basic cultures. That was the whole gimmick of that, was he was basically
a
racist anti-immigrant.
Oh,
that was their gimmick.
Wait,
essentially.
But Cesaro would be an immigrant.
Correct. That's why it was kind of interesting. So yes, he was basically being pushed, and then got caught with a car full of drugs and got de-pushed pretty quickly.
I don't remember them pushing Swagger other than when he won Money in the Bank.
No,
won his title and then lost his title pretty quick.
Because Coulter was really, really good and connecting, so they were sort of running with those guys a little bit.
I remember 2013 he did challenge Del Rio for the World Heavyweight title at Mania, and then the night after Ziggler cashed in on Del Rio. Ooh, Del Rio's versus Swagger. Now that is a match you would love.
Right. Absolutely.
We should have that in AEW.
No thanks.
I think that'd be pretty awesome.
You would. No.
Next we get House of Black promo. I didn't take notes on this one again because Malachi Black is too difficult to take notes for. And
he was basically, my only notes were that he was also putting over Brody King, right? A little bit. And then Brody King steps forward out of the shadows at the end, which I always like. They keep doing that, and I like it every time.
Brody King didn't say anything here, but I thought that worked perfectly fine. I thought he looked really cool. Black always speaks well, sounds cool. I like that here.
Me too.
I think it should be a cool match. So next we get an Eddie Kingston promo in the ring. He starts congratulating.
That's what disappointed me, because they cut him off, and I just want to hear this man speak.
He starts to congratulating Wardlow. He congratulates everyone in his wing team blank guys. He's like, see him going up, and he just goes and he's like, just kidding. I thought that was really funny. Kingston said he's out here because Jericho made him a liar. You didn't taste his blood. Jericho didn't bleed. Jericho appears on the Tron, which was live, and says if Kingston wants to be nasty, he'll show him how nasty he can be. And Ty Conti slams a car door on Ruby Soho's arm. I thought it was fine. I really wish we got more Kingston. I felt like he was just starting and he was cut off by Jericho, but I thought it was still really funny for what he got. I feel like it could be a first blood match or something. Nope, barbed wire death match.
At first I was like, why Soho? But I guess she got involved when Conti came down in the blood.
And she was also in the package.
But it looked kind of cheesy because Soho didn't move her arm from getting. She had
she was just totally waiting for it.
Time to move her arm from getting slammed in the door and did not. So she was cooperative there. But yeah, I guess this was fine, and we're getting a match out of it. But I would have rather Eddie was allowed to speak because he's one of the best, right? But this was fine.
Next we have Dark Order.
Including -1. He's back.
Yes, because they're in Lee's hometown.
Right.
Brody Lee, the original Brody Lee. The first Brody Lee, the Brody Lee who's not alive, the adult Brody Lee.
Right. As opposed to what other Brody Lee?
Brody Lee Jr.
Oh, is that his name? I just knew him as -1.
You didn't know that?
No.
Yeah, he's Brody Jr.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Yeah.
Carry on.
Yep.
It's not that interesting.
Yeah. Silver says the Dark Order is in Rochester and it's Dark Order country. Dark Order County. Dark County. That's all they need to align with Bear County, and then they should be called Dark County.
We get a Bear County sighting this week.
Oh, that's true. Uno says that is why it's very important to share their news here today. He thanks everyone supporting them from the beginning. I still don't know what the news was. I don't even remember. He says the 6 of them are here to stay, not Stu Grayson.
Yeah, how dare they?
That's very sad. And Dark Order's forever. And they begin a new chapter, and it begins with a proclamation. He gives the mic to -1. QT Marshall cuts it off because he's relevant, and he asks how long they have to put up with this charity case until he's like 18.
QT Marshall coming out and insulting a kid and challenging to a fight kind of made me laugh. I'm not going to lie.
Brody Lee was a legend, but -1 wasn't him. He takes after his mother. He says he doesn't have his friends out here. He tells Brody Lee to get rid of his friends and face him like a man.
That was funny.
That was pretty funny.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think they have like some mini.
When he's literally not a man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hangman Page comes out and him and Uno attack QT on the ramp, throw him into the ring. He gets beat by the rest of Dark Order. 10 hits a discus lariat. Brody Jr. says he would pin QT right now, but he'll wait till he's 18 when QT is probably a senior citizen. Yeah, that is it.
Yeah, kind of a fun segment, right? It gets Dark Order on TV. They've been sort of missing in action a little bit lately. Kind of feels like a step back for Hangman at this point, though, to go back to the Dark Order, but
I think it was just because it's like Brody Lee thing.
I think so too. And it amused me. Again, QT made me laugh, challenging a kid to a fight.
It didn't really have much purpose, but I'm okay with that because I like that even though like it's been a while, they're still like doing things like around Brody Lee. Like they're in his hometown, so they did like a little fun segment, kind of a bit of a tribute. I think promo from Uno Silver solid. QT was alright too. I thought he was pretty funny.
He was.
And then the rest of them being like it was fine for like it was kind of like a sentimental moment, I guess.
Yes.
I'm fine with Hangman involved because I don't think he'll be involved with them that much. I think it was just like because he's kind of affiliated with them and everyone loves Hangman, so it's just kind of like get him in there, feel good kind of thing. And
I think that's exactly what it was.
And then you're good. So I'm okay. This didn't really serve a purpose, but I think it's cool that
it was a fun
they
little
still do that.
Yeah, anytime they're in Rochester, always refer to Brody Lee. That makes sense to me.
I think it's cool.
Yep.
Next, we get Penta Oscuro versus Roosh.
And this was me battling internet, so we missed about a minute and a half of
From this point on is what we watched today, this very same day.
Yes.
July 9th, 2022.
Yes. And I do like commentary attempted to explain the history between these two, right? I always like that because they're like a grudge match, and I was joking like a grudge match where we've never seen them touch before, and then they sort of went into a bit of backstory,
where
right?
Roosh has been up to shenanigans.
Well, they've been together in Mexico a bunch and North America and stuff like that. So I appreciated that effort.
He's been up to shenanigans.
He has. Roosh always is. I can't see him ever as a babyface. But anyways,
I thought he was a babyface before.
I'm sure
LFI.
he has been, but he's such a good heel.
I swear I saw him as a babyface
such a good, despicable heel that just cheats for the sake of cheating.
Blanco.
Even if he doesn't have to cheat, he just cheats. I kind of dig it. Anyways, go ahead.
Topicon Hero by Penta, and Jose tries to interfere and he's attacked by Alex. That goes on for a while. Roosh kicks Penta in the face when he was hanging in the tree of woe. That was kind of cool. Penta hit a backstab and then Roosh comes back with a pretty fast scoop slam for 2. That was cool.
Explosive.
There's a nice strike exchange. Top rope shotgun dropkick by Roosh for 2. He gets a really he really snaps his leg.
He does.
Or slaps his leg.
His stuff looks like forceful.
Yeah.
It's one of the things I like about him.
He gets such a loud slap off
because he's like, and I'll say it in my notes, he's deliberate, but he hits stuff strong, right? Is generally, and cheats constantly. Yeah.
The finish comes when after some distraction from Andrade, Roosh hits Penta with a low blow, then rips off his mask again and rolls him up for the win with a small package. Yeah,
I thought this was a good match. Roosh telling the story of just being that heel that's going to go after Penta's mask because that is the ultimate humiliation, right? And that's what Roosh is all about, is just being the heeliest of heels. And I really like it. The deliberate, hard-hitting style and just the willingness
is that, like,
to cheat.
The mask taking is like getting a little
Yeah.
Because like he's done it now 3 times, twice to Penta, once to Phoenix, and then also the Bucks have done that. Like I don't know, it's getting like it happens to Lucha Bros all the time. Like I don't know, I feel like I guess it's fine 'cause, like heel whatever.
It's his like ultimate insult, right?
It's getting a little much though.
But a physical, intense match, I liked it, but I think there's no doubt that there's another gear these guys can find if it's a bigger, more important match for more stakes, right? So I am really excited by the Andrade Rush alliance, and I think they could be a huge, huge deal if they're presented correctly, especially if they're going to lean into the mega heel team. I think that would be amazing. So I like this, but I know there could be a better match here.
Yeah.
But it was good.
While it did suck missing Parless, I thought putting that fact aside, it was solid. I wish it was better, but I think it was solid. Rush looked good, had some crisp stuff. I don't think I've seen enough of him, though. I do need to see more before I judge him.
Right.
But I thought he was good here. Mask ripping is getting a little repetitive, in my opinion, but it's okay. Next we get Lethal and Co. Dutt's happy with the TV title match being official.
Thank God.
Lethal says they won't take him lightly, but they'll take his title. They're going to celebrate when he wins the title, too. This is fine. Not much news still. At least it was a little different, but...
That was me. Lethal, Dutt, and Singh do what they always do, but at least we have a date for the match that will allow this story to progress, and I just have it's more of the same, and it's fine, right? It's been the same basic tone with very different or slightly different words for weeks and weeks and weeks, but at least the match is coming.
Sucks that AEW programming now has to be taken up so much by, like, get ROH. I
Agreed.
literally don't care where their show is. Just
I don't either.
It can be on YouTube for all I care. Just
I agree.
Anywhere.
They need more time to do this stuff away from Dynamite.
Yeah.
A bit. I agree.
And then, you can stick I don't know.
There's just too much to get through, so not enough gets attention.
It feels like there's so many little running threads across.
Agree. It's a lot to
Dynamite.
keep track of.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then
so then that forces them to do more stuff on internet stuff, which we're not watching, which annoys me when I'm supposed to.
Which is where the Ring of Honor stuff should go.
Right. I agree.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they have to figure something out here.
So Sterling is back again. He's trying to get Orange Cassidy to sign a petition. Danhausen's Orange Cassidy's lawyer needs to face Cassidy. If Cassidy loses, he has to sign the petition. Blah blah. This was short. I didn't really care. It was fine.
Danhausen as a lawyer, I thought was kind of funny, right? And I like the fact that it annoyed Sterling so much. He sold that pretty well. So a simple way to make a match for Rampage, was it? I assume, right? So yeah, I was fine with it. Sterling always does a good job. Danhausen, I'm fine with small doses of Danhausen, and I thought him as a lawyer was kind of amusing.
Speaking of Danhausen, what happened to Hook?
Apparently Hook is talking a lot now and speaking cryptic promos like Bray Wyatt. I think I heard that. Either I dreamt it or I heard that.
Bray
somewhere.
Wyatt?
Well, just speaking in riddles kind of deal.
Yeah.
I haven't seen
He's
it. He's
dropped off the face of the earth.
Probably all over the internet again. I don't know. I don't know where he is, but anyway.
I haven't seen him since I heard about that golf cart thing on Rampage.
Right.
Next week, Gun Club and the Acclaim versus Ruffin It, which is Leon Ruffin, FK Leon Ruff.
How is he the namesake of a faction? That seems strange to me.
I don't even know why they're a faction.
This guy that they've spent zero time talking about.
They're on Dark.
Right, of course.
Leon Ruff and Bear County.
Those are not good enough to be a country.
No, they are not.
No.
And Fuego del Sol.
Right, who I thought looked, at first I was like, is that -1? Because he's so small and he's in a mask, right? I'm like, oh, -1's debuting tonight. Nice. But it wasn't.
Could be Sammy Guevara, we don't know.
True.
So there wasn't much. All I noted was Bones saying that strike combo to Bronson. And then the finish comes when Caster hits the mic drop. Austin had tagged in before he hit it, though, and then he steals the win. They're arguing after the Gun Club attacked the Acclaimed. Billy Gunn throws them off and yells at his son. Then he turns around and attacks. The Acclaimed hits a clothesline to Caster and a famous to Bowen. So, yay!
I thought this would have been way more interesting, and I thought that's where it was going if Billy Gunn was supporting the Acclaimed over his own sons.
Yeah.
I thought that was kind of a cool route to go.
Yes.
But they didn't, right? So no. I don't know. So clearly this was nothing about the match. It was about the breakup of this group. But for me, again, maybe it's been on the internet more, but they haven't established this group as a group, right? So the split wasn't that impactful for me. It's we've got a group of low to mid carders that I rarely see as a group split up, other than I guess maybe does this make the Acclaim baby faces? That's what we were wondering when we were watching it.
Yeah,
right?
That's what I was thinking, and I don't want that.
So I don't see much point to this. Again, if Gunn had turned on his own kids and gone heel with the Acclaimed, I think that would have been more interesting, but that's not the choice they made. So I don't really care about this, I guess, to say it best. What about you?
Yeah, I can't say I'm too invested. I don't I don't like the guns.
They don't do much for me.
I agree. Like, well, I don't really care. I thought I was far more interested in, like, I still wasn't super interested, but I thought it was more interesting if Billy was gonna support the Acclaimed over his own children.
Yeah.
I thought that's at least something.
And even
in
if
here.
it's just like it turns out that he's faking it, right, to get the Gun Club a win over the Acclaimed, fine. Like
But then they just short circuited it.
Because this is like back to status quo now, right?
Short circuited.
Yeah, I don't really get it.
I don't get it. I do not want babyface Acclaimed either. That just doesn't sound interesting. That doesn't sound appealing.
I prefer almost everyone as heels, so I assume I'll prefer them as heels too.
Yeah, it's not even that. It's not even that. It's just like their thing works so better.
Their act is not. Yeah, I agree.
It's not like I don't want a babyface rap.
I agree.
I want a heel rap.
Yes.
Next we get a Miro promo. I summarized it, but basically he's coming after House of Black and Rage after what happened at Forbidden Door.
Yep.
I missed most of this, like in notes. So you can check it out if you want. But I thought it's solid. While I like him and Black, I don't really want this because it's a heel on heel feud that I don't really feel like.
I don't
makes sense.
think Miro's a heel anymore.
I don't think. How is he a face?
Because people love him. I think that's about it.
I don't. This doesn't feel like it works for me. Like
I really like this promo as always
also,
with Miro.
I don't think either of them should lose.
That is fair. I don't know
Where
what
do
you
you
do
go?
there. Yeah, I agree.
That'd be like Wardlow facing someone who shouldn't lose. Like, I don't like. To me, whether I don't know what he is, Miro feels like a heel, and I don't think him and Black mesh that well together, and I don't see. Like, someone has to lose, and I don't think either of them should lose.
Yeah, that's a fair point.
So I don't know what you do.
I think
here.
Miro's kind of in that tweener role, and they're like, well, the crowd's cheering for him, so let's put him against heels, right? I guess. I don't know.
There's some disconnect here.
Agree. A little bit. Match of the year contender next?
Mm-hmm. Oh, yes. Absolutely. Marina Shafir, a.k.a. Play, and Nyla Rose versus the affectionately nicknamed Thunderstorm.
I will say I'm very happy Vicky is gone. I find Nyla way more interesting without her, and I think
you don't like the
Vicious Vixens?
Vicious Vix. How dare you?
So what's left? Is it just the Vicious or the Vixen? I think Vicious, because Vicky would have been the Vixen.
Ah, yes.
So I think we're left with Vicious.
Or plot twist, is Shafir the new Vixen?
So it's Vicious and Play. Play Vicious?
Vicious Play.
Play Vicious.
Play Vicious. There we go. All right.
Nice.
So it's Play Vicious versus Thunderstorm.
With their debut. A stunning debut.
Stunning. Yes. Some stunning. Yes. There's some corner tag offense to Shafir by Thunderstorm.
And listen.
I will say, at least it makes it easy to note.
Some of it was too frequent. Like, I noted 2 punches, tag out. Punch, chop, punch, tag out. Like, a little bit too far of the quick tags.
Judo throw, tag out?
In my opinion. Judo throw, yes.
There's some crummy mat wrestling with Rosa and Shafir.
Marina Shafir, dude.
She sucks.
I don't mean to be mean, but she's not good.
She's just playing around.
Yeah, exactly.
Shafir does a judo throw after a boring hold and then stands around for like 10 seconds.
Really? Even the commentary are like, I can't remember how they described it, but basically like, why is she not following up on this? As Rose, a trained fighter.
Yeah. Rose drops Shafir onto a splash on Storm. ... This match is so boring.
You're not wrong.
Air quotes, hot tag. Flurry by Rosa. Actually, air quotes, flurry too.
Mm-hmm.
Then there's a hip attack by Storm. Thunderstorm went with like some assisted driver.
It was, wasn't it the Fire Thunder driver with like a spike Fire Thunder driver, basically?
I guess, yeah.
I think, yeah. I couldn't get into this match, and I think the crowd and you agreed with me. The crowd was not a lot of energy for this. They tried to cheer for Thunder Rosa, but they just were bored, I think. Too much Marina Shafir, right? And she does not impress me at all. I don't know what they think they saw in NXT that they wanted to sign and sort of present her as a killer, but I'm not seeing it. Rosa,
pun intended, she's starting to become a problem on the roster.
Right. Rosa and Storm didn't seem to have chemistry to me, and this match was just kind of there.
I thought it was weird because Rosa and Storm don't have chemistry, and then like all of a sudden they just have a tag team name, they have merch, they have like they did tag moves, like they're just like this coherent tag team. I swear to God, if they bring in tag titles, I will punch someone.
I would have preferred that Nyla, who I like, dominate here a bit, and then Shafir take the fall, because I didn't see much out of Nyla here, and I think she's good, right? So
yeah. So I thought Shafir looked really bad.
She's not good.
This was super bad. It was so slow and so boring. Like, what happened that I remember?
And this is our women's match.
I remember
week, right?
judo throw. That is what I remember.
Right.
I think I can confidently say Shafir is very bad. She's so slow. Aside from judo throws, it doesn't seem like she knows how to do a whole lot. I wouldn't even say she has great strikes, and she's an MMA person.
And your whole gimmick is you're this dominant killer, and you don't dominate, and you don't win.
Right.
So it's a bit of a disconnect.
Neither Rose looked worse than she usually does. She was slow. She didn't really do much. Rosa didn't look that great either. The only one who didn't look horrible was Storm, and even then she didn't look great either.
And for you to say that.
Yeah, that must be
that's
really
something.
bad. Yeah.
Right.
This match is not good at all. This is your women's match of the week. Woo!
I know. Not good. Not good.
Next, we have a Cargill promo. Cargill asked what the hell that was last week, referring to Layla Gray.
Layla Gray, Hall of Famer.
Hathaway says that they can have an interim champion, they can have an interim baddie. He brings in none other than Layla Gray.
Yep.
He says 3-on-2 is better than 2-on-2. Says trust the process, and Cargill says like basically like it's like
this better work out or
it's
something.
Like it's his ass or whatever. Like he's sticking his neck out for it. I thought it was fine. I don't really care. Nah.
Hathaway's great. Jade's great. Interim baddie is kind of funny because you have an interim champion, and I kind of hope it does work out because I don't want the Hathaway Jade alliance to end yet. I think there's enough legs to that relationship to have this work. So
Muscular
I'm hoping
legs belonging to someone.
I hope this. So I thought this was fine.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Next we get a Daniel Garcia promo because that's what I wanted.
Oof. He was in a hurry to get through this one. My God.
Yeah.
I just felt like he spoke so, like he got nervous and just spoke so fast that I
hate the way he's like,
I lost track of some of it.
I don't even know what he does, but like the way he, like his mannerisms when he's talking, like the way he like moves, I hate it.
And he's like, call me a technician or call me a sports entertainer. Well, dude, those are two like diametrically opposed things, right? So
polar opposites.
Which is it? Anyway, sorry, Ed.
He says last week on Dark he stood over Yuta, held the pure title. Yuta can do anything. Sure, if you say so. He says Yuta isn't fooling anyone. He isn't afraid of him. He is the best. He challenges Yuta to a match for the ROH Pure Title Death Before Dishonor. It was okay. Something about like the way he talks and his mannerisms I don't like.
Yes.
Like, he's just like, I don't know.
Doesn't sound super comfortable.
No, it just sounds weird, and
I
don't like it. It looks weird too.
I felt this one was really rushed and pretty generic content, right? But I don't know. They got to give this guy a chance because he could still improve on the mic. I'm interested in the match, but I thought this was just okay.
Yeah, so then we get another Ring of Honor related one. We have one from FTR. Cash talks about how they have 3 titles now. No match took more out of them than the one they won the ROH tag titles. I don't know. I think Dax Harwood's shoulder would beg to differ.
Right.
That's just me. He says even after they beat the Briscoes, people still doubt them as the best, and that doesn't sit well with them. Or as I wrote, the comma for some reason, because comma is right next to M. That seems to be my thought process.
Oh, I see.
Dax challenges Briscoes to a rematch for the tag titles at Death Before Dishonor, and to be a king, you gotta kill a king, and they aren't dead yet. I love that line.
Yeah,
that was sick.
Good promo. I like that they now sort of. It seems to be the routine is let Cash speak and he's solid, and then let Dax speak because he's
let
awesome.
him kind of close it.
He's really good.
Yeah,
so
I like it. Was pretty simple and straightforward, so I liked it, and should be one hell of a rematch.
That's again your rematch of my probable match of the year so far. Yeah, I'm all in for it.
I thought Dax's last line was pretty sick.
These guys are just super consistent, right?
Yes.
On the mic, in the ring, you just know what you're gonna get,
and it's great
at all times,
yeah.
and it's very good. Yep.
I think it's kind of like a twist on the Ric Flair thing.
Yeah.
You know, to be a man, you gotta.
Yep.
You gotta, to be the man, you gotta be. I like it. It was good. Next we get to our main event, which is Jon Moxley versus Brody King. Not using Malachi Black's team because he's a dumb loser. For
Brody
the AEW
King has
Interim
slimmed down
World
a lot, man. He's in really good shape for him.
This is not news, but he is so tattooed. He is. I don't know how someone does that.
He
is
incredible. Very scary looking fellow.
He is, yes.
Right? Like if you ran into that guy like somewhere, you'd be like,
imagine seeing that guy on the beach.
Right. Like he's an intimidating looking dude.
He is. It'd be interesting to meet him because like even just like
probably a lovely man.
Yeah, but you just like right off the bat, you just be like, you can't help but be like a little intimidated. Like,
yeah, every square inch of his body is tattooed.
He
pretty
is
much
so tattooed. It is incredible.
Yeah,
like especially like his stomach, like the amount of like skin that is not covered is like it is insane. Yeah.
He's got a good look for sure.
Malachi Black has a lot, but like Brody King is like next level.
And when he comes out in the mask and everything, he looks terrifying.
He's got a cool look. Yeah,
he does.
It's awesome. He has quite the look.
He does.
Now on to the actual match, not just talking about aesthetic.
Yeah.
Oh, speaking of, Mox was wearing camo.
He was.
Gray camo.
Yep.
White camo, gray, white camo. One of those.
Gray.
Something like that. Something that isn't really color. Also, he had a belt.
True.
which may surprise you as this is for said belt.
It is.
That is me staying off topic.
You are.
Strike exchange until King hits a couple nasty forearms. Just lays into him with those.
I tell you, his forearms, because I was watching Ring of Honor, him and Shane Taylor's forearms.
I don't know what he's doing, but
favorite.
He's doing it right.
It
doesn't even look like he's just like putting a lot of force in him. It just looks like it just looks like he collides with them good. Like it doesn't even look like he's just like wailing on him. It's just like for whatever reason it connects like absolutely solid.
For sure.
King backdrops Mox on the floor at the edge of the ramp. There's a strike exchange. Mox on the ropes. Mox runs the ropes. Gets caught with a black hole slam for 2. Bossman Sam, that's dumb. King misses a cannonball in the corner, so kind of cool. Just the way he like, I feel like the way Kevin Owens does it, it's like he's like rolling into the corner.
Right.
You know what I mean? And then like I feel like Brody King, he like kind of jumps in the turnbuckles
launches
a bit, like,
himself
because the way like he missed, he like hits the turnbuckles and then kind of lands on the ground. It's like he absolutely collides with it. King sits atop the turnbuckles and he lifts Mox in the sleeper, so he's like holding him by the head like in a sleeper, which is really cool. He drops him in positions to hit a cannonball, so he connects for 2. Then the hammer and the anvil elbows by Mox. He transitions into a sleeper hold. King falls back to break it, but then Mox grabs back on, kind of latches back on like a leech or something. And then Mox transitions that into the bulldog choke and eventually gets the win with that.
Yeah, I thought this was a solid, deliberately paced, like hard hitting match, right? Which is what you're going to expect between these two. So, I'm happy Brody King got a bit of a spotlight because I've liked him for quite a while, and I did like this match. I don't think it was a top notch main event. Still a little bit below some of the hot main events we've had.
It didn't particularly feel a ton like a main event.
No. And the pace was not super fast, right? Yeah. Which is understandable with these two guys. So I thought it was a good match, but not like a top tier main event. But again, happy that people see Brody King in a big spot, sort of in a singles match.
Like a moderate, cool. A moderate version of what they did for Kyle O'Reilly before Forbidden Door.
Right.
So that was the last we've seen of Kyle O'Reilly.
Yeah. So a good but not great match, I thought, for a main event.
I miss Kyle O'Reilly.
He has been missing a bit.
Mm-hmm. I thought it was good. Very much what I expected. They hit each other hard a lot. Thought it was a little slow at times. It dragged a little. But I generally liked it. Doesn't particularly feel like a huge main event, but I think it was still good. I do like a bit of spotlight for Brody King. That's pretty cool. Solid first defense from Mox. Solid showing for King, which is cool because I don't see him getting many opportunities like this. So I'm okay with that. I'm okay with him getting a good showing here.
Me too.
I like that he had to like choke out King, get like that bulldog choke and get it in deep because like he couldn't hit him with a paradigm shift. He had to like resort to that, which is kind of like a secondary one. I think. Like, it was a solid main event, nothing groundbreaking, but I thought it was all right.
Yep. Overall, I thought a decent show, but not one of the stronger ones from AEW. In ring, I liked Rush Andrade and I liked the main event. And I thought Swerve and Lee's tag match was pretty solid, especially the second half. Then Wardlow basically won an extended squash, almost the women's tag, and was not a good match. And the other men's tag match wasn't good and was more of a gimmick than a match anyways. So just lacking in star power every now and then, right? There's an episode of this show that I feel like, where is everybody? Right? You got the Bucks, but barely. So I just feel like a lot of the top of the card wasn't represented here. So it felt like a B- show to me. I was still entertained by many things on it, but some things were a bit of a letdown. So not one of the stronger shows, but still not bad, right? Still something to watch. So a B- for me.
Sorry, I was just reading a thing that Lacey Evans turned heel again. So since she's returned, which was not too long ago, she's turned 4 times.
So she is the new big show.
Yes.
Of the world.
I thought that was funny.
Nice.
Because she was heel before she left, then she turned face, turned heel to Raw, turned face on SmackDown.
She was
turned
like non-existent in that ladder match. Like barely memorable at all.
I just remember what she wore.
But anyway, I remember her not wanting to fall off the ladder was what I remember.
Anyways, like a bit of a lackluster show, I'd say. Nothing like particularly like
not a hot
amazing,
show by any means.
No. So it's cool Wardlow won the title, but the match wasn't like anything great. The Swerve Lee's match with Butcher Blade, that was actually pretty solid, like for what it was.
Yeah, by the end I liked it.
Penta Rouge was alright. The women's match was awful. That drags down the show, I think. The Gun Club Acclaim stuff was pretty much just an angle, I thought. So nothing much there. And the main event was pretty solid. Like I think if you're gonna check out any match, watch that. But I don't think you particularly need to. Best promo goes to Christian Cage, of course. I thought that was pretty nice. Dark Order one was nice. It was feel good. Kingston should have gotten more time, so I didn't like particularly love that. Gun Club angles alright. The Sterling stuff I didn't really care for. And I like the FTR promo. Garcia and Lethal were meh, and Cargill was okay. overall, I think it was a B- show, like below average.
Me too.
Not
terrible, but
not terrible, but nothing you need to seek out.
Agree.
Beats Money in the Bank though.
It does, yes. I would rather watch that than Money in the Bank any week. All right, so that's going to bring us to our next segment. We'll take a break and have Jack tackle some trivia in what we like to call Off the Top of His Head. All right, so this week for trivia, I sort of went back to making it myself, pulling from some article about 50 interesting facts or something about wrestling. So I made some questions out of that. So hopefully they make sense. Let's see how it goes. I think there's between 15 and 20. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
Just general, whatever. The first wrestler, this is a tough one. I thought this was interesting, though. The first wrestler to win a main event at WrestleMania with an age lower than the number of the WrestleMania. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, like, if it's WrestleMania 32, you're younger than that.
Okay.
Because the main eventers tend to be old.
Let me think.
Go ahead. Think for a minute. I didn't write down which Mania it was either, so I apologize. But I do have the link. Maybe I'll go back to it.
Let me think.
So if a relatively young-ish main event win is what you're looking for. I can give you the WrestleMania if you need to.
No. I want to try to... I don't know. I'm thinking... Would it be Lynch?
It's not. It is a male. I'll give you that.
Rollins?
Correct. What year?
31.
And what year was that?
2015.
Actually, it doesn't say, but I imagine you're right. But he is the correct answer, yes.
Okay, I was thinking... So what, he was like... Oh, he was young then, damn.
Yeah, right?
How old does he have been then?
I don't know.
Let me see.
I'm looking right now. Seth Rollins was the first wrestler to win a main event at WrestleMania with an age lower than the number of the WrestleMania.
He's 36 right now, so that would have been like 7 years ago.
Right.
So he would have been 29. Damn.
There you go.
Really? Wow.
See, you're learning stuff from my trivia.
I thought he was older. Damn. Cool.
Which WrestleMania did not feature a traditional male singles match?
2000.
Yes.
16.
Yeah, correct.
Or WrestleMania 16, WrestleMania 2000.
Correct.
Yeah.
Which wrestling, and so why was that? Tell me the details of that Mania.
Only singles match was, I think, Terry Reynolds versus the Cat.
And everything else was...
Or Tori versus the Cat or something. Everything else. Like, so the main event was a 4. Even the main event was a 4. It was Foley, Big Show, Rock, Triple H.
Interesting.
McMahon in every corner.
Oh, yes, that makes sense.
There's a triangle ladder match on that one. There's a hardcore scramble. Stuff like that.
Cool.
I think there's a 2 or 3 falls, 3-way. It was like when Angle was Eurocontinental champion. He was against Benoit and Jericho.
Right.
And each fall was for one of his titles, and he lost both of the titles by the Chris's pinning each other.
That's a great group of wrestlers right there.
Mm-hmm.
Which wrestling event saw the largest live attendance, with many likely being forced to attend in wrestling history?
Mania 32?
No.
33?
No.
30.
Think about something we watched on a different wrestling special. Think of Dark Side of the Ring, maybe. And not in North America, maybe.
Oh, the Korea one?
Yes.
Oh.
So that was in Collision in North Korea in 95, right? Who holds the record for the longest ever match in pro wrestling? New Japan, I'll give you that much.
Is it Omega and Okada?
No, it's from 1987.
I have no idea.
Inoki versus Masa Saito. Over 2 hours, I think it says.
What? How?
2 hours and 5 minutes,
How?
something like that. I don't know.
It's like a double Iron Man match. Jesus.
Who wrestled in the last match ever on Nitro?
Oh, Flair and Sting.
Correct. Very good. Who is the only team to have held the ECW, WCW, WWE, NWA, IWGP, and TNA tag team
Dudley's.
titles? Correct. That was pretty easy, right?
The fact that they've held the IWGP titles is weird.
As soon as you throw in the TNA, then I'm like, dang.
Actually, no, I thought, because I think, I kind of knew from ECW. When it was ECW, WCW, I was like pretty positive it was them. And then when you throw in, like, I knew they had the IWGP ones from their TNA run, and then TNA, like, I figured.
Right. Which 2 tag teams have held the WWF/E, I guess, tag titles for 365 or more days?
Demolition, New Day.
Demolition's 1. New Day is the new one, I guess. So I guess there's 3 now.
Who else would it be then?
Old brothers. Older than Steiners, if that's what you're thinking. The Valiant brothers. I don't think you'll ever get there.
No.
Exactly. That's why I bailed you out. Who has a WCW World Tag Team title reign of -6 days?
What? Tell me. I'm
Right?
interested.
So, see if we can figure this out. So, due to a show that was taped on February 18th, 91,
okay,
the Freebirds were filmed dropping the belts that they hadn't even won yet to the Steiners on WCW Pro. So on February 24th, they won the championships from Doom on a live pay-per-view at the Wrestle War event. On the 9th of March, the tape delay title loss aired on TV.
That's so weird.
Right? So they had a reign of -6 days as it.
How does that happen?
I'd never heard that one before, so I thought that was cool.
Never.
All right, here's a cool one, I thought. Who faced a different member of Evolution at 3 consecutive Unforgiven pay-per-views? And if it helps you, I'll give you the hints of who they faced.
Let me think.
So, again, a different member of Evolution at 3 consecutive Unforgivens. Do you want the years? I have years and who
4, 5, 6.
It was 5, 6, 7.
Okay.
So you're very close. You're in the right area.
I want to say Shawn Michaels.
No.
Oh, that just seems like the obvious
So it was
answer.
Flair in 2005, Orton in 2006, Triple H in 2007.
I thought they'd leave Flair out. Edge.
No. Somebody who
Cena.
was not there as long as he could have been and was elevated really, really quickly.
Snitsky.
No. He won a title in his first match, I believe. Carlito
What?
is correct.
That is weird.
Caribbean Cool. Who defeated every member of Evolution at WrestleManias? So over time has beaten every
Ryan?
member. No. So it's from Mania 18.
Undertaker.
Correct.
Oh, that just makes sense.
Mania 18, 21, 23, 27, and 28.
He did Triple H thrice, and then the rest of them once each, so that would be 6.
Right. Sheamus once worked as a bodyguard for what rock star?
Ozzy Osbourne.
No, Bono
don't know
of
why.
U2, who I don't even know if you know who that is. Brodus
Bono?
Bono, yeah.
Oh, yeah. No, that was in Family Guy or whatever.
Brodus Clay once
must
worked as a
mention.
bodyguard for which hip-hop star?
No clue. Kid Rock?
Think of somebody who's affiliated with
Snoop
WWE.
Dogg.
There you go. A wrestling hip-hop guy. Who was the first performer in WWE history, I didn't even know this, to have a different entrance and exit theme?
The Fiend?
No.
I know he did.
So though he wasn't the first. Similar kind of
Waylon Mercy?
gimmick, I guess. No.
Taker?
No.
Kane?
One of Taker's big feuds, though.
Naked Midian?
No. The only person to be in the same Royal Rumble 3 times.
Oh, Foley.
Correct.
What? He did? Mankind did?
I guess. I don't know.
Really?
It says Foley. It doesn't say Mankind, so I'm not
I assume it's
entirely
Mankind because Mankind feuded with Taker.
I think so, too.
That's weird.
This was interesting to me. Which wrestler successfully sued Jay-Z for using his hand sign?
Cena?
No. Who has a very famous WCW hand sign gesture?
Oh, NWO? Nash?
No.
Hall?
No.
Someone?
Babyface.
Oh, DDP.
Correct. I was going to say with the move better than
Successfully.
the
It's not.
RKO.
Orton does better.
Who is the only wrestler to appear in video games from WWE, UFC, and NFL?
Lesnar.
Correct.
Bedoy.
Correct. Who's the only wrestler to win the IWGP, TNA, WWE, and NWA world titles?
Styles.
Correct. Who was the fastest, last question, who was the fastest to become a WWE Triple Crown champion?
Stop. No.
It was an 8-month span. Do you want to know
Angle?
Nope. I can give you details of the titles if you want.
Sure.
World Heavyweight title on June 30th, 2008. Tag Team titles with Kofi Kingston in 2008. Correct. IC title January 2009. CM Punk is correct.
As soon as you said tag titles to Kofi Kingston.
Some weird questions in there, eh?
Yeah.
I like some of those.
That was good.
Stumped you on some. All right,
I
so
think Kadaddle is the most accurate, but
Kadaddle was a joke, but it was fun for some of
That
the
was
wrong
the best.
reasons. But yeah. All right, so let's switch back to talking about wrestling, and we'll take a look at what's becoming increasingly a bit of a chore. Would you agree?
Yeah.
And that is this week's NXT UK. So the longer we watch this show, the more I feel like we timed it perfectly when we started reviewing it, because like for what, 2 or 3 weeks we loved it and it like flew by and it was super fun, and now it's not so much, right?
Oh damn! I just saw that Kingston Jericho is week 2, so it'll be in 2 weeks.
Oh, nice. So this show started out without any lengthy recaps at the beginning, which is nice because the last 2 weeks have been
Christmas miracle.
Some epic recaps. So
yes.
We just got a little bit of commentary banter. I think they put over the main event tag team match. And then that was it. Straight into Tiger Turan taking on Kenny Williams in our opener. So we get holds and counters before some arm drags by Turan early on. William is trying to take shortcuts, but Turan seems to be one step ahead of him at the beginning. We get a rolling flatliner by Turan for 2. He's in control until a chop block to his left knee from Williams. Snap suplex by Williams for 2. Williams keeps going for the mask, but Turan fights out, takes control with a couple clotheslines and an inverted gut wrench suplex. Missile dropkick by Turan. Williams then gets his knees up on a senton to steal the momentum back. He takes the time to taunt Tiger Turan and says he knows it's Amir Jordan, as we all do, and commentary even
have for some time
seem to comment on. But he gets caught with a roll-up here and loses the match. Williams is furious, attacks Turan after the match, hits his, the forward DDT, like the original Dirty Deeds, right?
Yes. Before
pulling off Tiger Turan's mask to reveal another mask.
Crappy looking black mask.
Just a straight up black mask. I don't know. The match was okay. The finish I didn't really like. The aftermath just means that this is going to continue, right? So I don't know. I don't know, man.
The match wasn't really anything, and we didn't really get anywhere. So we didn't really accomplish anything new. So I'm not a huge fan.
I guess it's supposed to be we all know who it is, but it's frustrating Williams because he can't confirm that it's him.
It's like Kevin Owens trying to prove that Ezekiel is
right.
Elias.
I think you're right.
Except that's dumber, I think.
But I'm not enjoying Williams' frustration that much, right? Like I don't know. Like I like Kenny Williams, but is there a storyline on this in this company to NXT UK that you're really enjoying right now?
Not really.
Me either. I don't know, man. It's tough.
I can't think of any.
We get highlights of Briggs and Jensen taking the NXT UK tag titles to 2.0.
Where they did very important stuff with it.
And Pretty Deadly have taken exception to this. And I guess we're heading towards a match between Pretty Deadly and Briggs and Jensen. So I don't know. Does that mean Pretty Deadly win it and they come back to UK?
Hell no.
So I don't understand what's going on, but anyways.
That will not happen because that would be good.
From last week, Trent Seven is sent out of the building by security, and as he's sort of being walked out, Sam Gradwell passes by, calls Seven the dirt worst, and Seven responds by calling Gradwell a jobber before walking away, which isn't nice, right?
That's not very polite.
I think Seven's doing a fine job as a heel here, and obviously this is his next heel victory. Sounds like will be over Gradwell, since that's kind of Gradwell's role in this company, right? Is to be present but never win, basically.
Right. Ever since the Kenny Williams feud.
Because obviously we're building to bait Seven, as Seven keeps saying Bate's not coming back, he's done, blah blah blah. But I don't know. So this was something that happened.
Yeah, it was all right, I guess.
Yeah. Oliver Carter is working out. De Familia approach him again, and they sort of want his response to their constant recruitment. Carter says that he'll run through all of them, and it looks like he's going to start with Teoman, even though Rohan Raja sort of volunteered himself first. Teoman sort of stepped in and said that he'll be the one to take on Carter first. So, I mean, to be fair, they've had to shift on the fly from Ashton Smith being hurt unexpectedly, right? And this is what they're choosing to do with Oliver Carter, but it's sort of awkward because it's one guy against a faction, so I don't know.
It'll be okay. I guess he's running the gauntlet, which is fine, but I'm not.
I like Teoman and I like Carter, so that match could be good, I guess. But again, the stories are just not compelling at all right now, I find, in this.
Yeah, and it's like, and I mean, I guess like the better part of it is like it's not like me and Ross were like I'm not particularly interested in these, but I'm also like not like against them. It's just kind of there, and I'm just like,
Agree.
I'm just disinterested.
Agree. It's like only an hour, so we get through it quickly, but it's not like keeping my interest really.
Right.
Next match we get Josh Morrell who hurt himself in his last match. He was looking pretty good and then got hurt his shoulder, I think it was. It's heavily taped for this one. So he's taking on Primate, who's now all alone, it seems, right? So Morel takes control early with his quickness and agility. Primate hits a German off the second rope. Big back body drop by Primate for a 2 count. Low bridge sends Primate to the floor. Morel hits a Fosbury flop out to the floor. He misses a 450 and Primate hits a running back elbow. We eventually get a slingshot code red by Josh Morel, and he picks up the somewhat surprising win here. Although I felt like he kind of might get the win because he was getting a lot in the match. I forget who it was against, his last match before he got injured.
It was Turan.
It was.
Turahan.
So now don't get crazy. I'm not comparing him to this person, but he reminds me, I think he has a ton of potential, reminds me of a really young, inexperienced AJ Styles in terms of the way he moves around the ring and the stuff that he can do, right? You're squinting at me like, how dare I? And I said, don't get mad.
Sure.
He's really athletic. He's strong. He's fast. I'm kind of glad they're... I wrote punching him a bit, but I meant pushing him a bit. I'm just interested in something new on this show right now. Like, I need something to get interested in. So he has no character or story right now, but they can work on that. I think he looks interesting in the ring. He's super athletic, so I'm okay with them trying something new. This match wasn't amazing for sure, but it's just to get this kid a win, I guess. What did you think of it?
Yeah, I thought it was okay. I mean, like they were saying, like this is like he's gonna. Like they were saying, I'm trying. Yeah.
Words are hard.
Primate was gonna like show us like what happens when he's unshackled or whatever,
and he lost immediately.
This is what, he lost to like a jobber. This is what.
And I do happen. Like Primate's like intensity and stuff, right? But yeah,
that's what's gonna happen when he
is
unshackled.
Yes.
Yeah, I wonder what happened to T-Bone because it's not like they kind of betrayed Dennis together. So
yeah, I don't know.
He's just gone. I was under the impression they would stay tag team, but.
Guess not. Earlier this week, Blair Davenport was rude to an interviewer until Amal walks up and asked her about saying she's there to crush Hope, right? Because she said that in her promo last week, which Amal thinks is a shot at her because she's known as the French Hope, which is exactly what we predicted and knew where this was going. So Davenport says something rude to her and walks away. And then Stevie Turner is there, right? And she says something to Amal. And Amal is in a bad mood because of Davenport, so she ends up challenging Turner to a match, which is what we're going to get.
Which seems like their cheap way of like having a warm-up match
100%.
when Davenport's not affiliated with anyone. Because if you're going to Satamura, boom, Millie.
You're right. They just like, Stevie Turner walked through this scene. And
I swear, they've done this before with Stevie Turner.
I can't keep them all apart, man. She is blonde mid-carder number 7.
There's so many.
Right. Dragunov promo to remind us that there is talent on this show and they do actually have a champion despite him never defending or never having anyone worthy of defending, I would suggest, right? So he lists people he's beaten. We see footage of him training. He'll fight someone he's never faced before, and it's anticlimactic Wolfgang.
Yeah, I was like, really?
This is what I mean. A tiny roster where they've built nobody, right? So
you can even like do like Trent 7 and then like have Tyler Bate return in that match. Like honestly, I would take that.
I'd rather. So he tries to put Wolfgang over here as a lion before ending "Long live the Tsar," I guess is his catchphrase. So sure.
I miss Dragon. I'd like Dragunov, honestly.
I like Dragunov a lot, but like, what's he?
I'm trying to care, and it's like, what else? What's really been going on lately?
He's just kind of wasting away at this point, right? So there's no like. Anyways, he's just nobody on the horizon for him that's realistic, I don't think.
Devlin should have won.
Right. Sorry, who?
JD, whatever his last name is.
McDonough?
I said it. I
think so, yeah.
It's spelled weird.
Our next big match is Tate Mayfair's taking on Trent Seven. So this is, I think, Seven's heel singles debut since he turned on Bates. So we get a recap of Seven attacking a fan last week, but they don't actually show the attack because they want it to look like it's real. Like, we can't show footage of a wrestler beating on a fan, so sure. We get a boot and clubbing blows by Seven to start, DDT by Seven after being outside the ring for a little bit. Seven then toys with Mayfair's, lands chops and hard Irish whips. He's just kind of deliberately working over this kid. Flurry by Mayfair's finally, but a back fist and a 7-star lariat by Trent Seven for the win in a quick match here. He continues the attack after the match, applies a figure 7, before good old Sam Gradwell
Figure
runs out.
7.
Yeah. Runs out to make the save as Trent escapes to the floor in classic heel fashion. Again, this match was just designed to show us heel Trent Seven. He's vicious, he's cruel, he'll beat people after the match, etc., etc. Mayfair's really got next to nothing and was just asked to take a beating, so it was fine. Like, we're just representing Trent Seven as a heel to us in this little match, I guess. Nothing special though. Thoughts?
Yeah, it was fine. It was
enhancement,
squash
right?
match. Like,
Yeah,
I'm nothing really interesting. Like, and I don't really care. Like,
yep, this seems to be the problem of this show right now.
It's like Retro Raw when it was an hour, and they said like they packed it with squash matches.
Yes.
And, like,
well, I mean, there is a devastating main event though, so
at least there's that.
We then get a back and forth package with Noam Dar and Mark Coffey ahead of their Heritage Cup match. So Dar is very confident. Coffey is training really hard. That's my really big summary of it, right? Coffey will make sure that Shaw Samuels loses all of the bets he's made on this, because I think the story is he made Coffey 100-1, so everybody's betting on Coffey to get those odds, right? I'm sure that, anyways, if Coffey wins, it's going to break Shaw Samuels. This segment actually got a fair amount of time. It was fine. I actually think this was the most interesting that Mark Coffey's ever seen to me, because he actually spoke really well, got some time to say some things. And Dar is just great as the overconfident heel champion, right? So of all the things on this show, I did not have a problem with this. You?
Yeah, I don't know. It was okay. Like, I'm half paying attention to everything because it's not even worth it anymore.
I know, it's
like,
tough.
I don't even remember.
So it's a ringing endorsement of this show. I mean, it was so good the first couple weeks. We were like, oh man, I'm actually excited to watch this.
Won the tag titles, and it was like around there. It was like end of last year.
So main event, your main event competitors, Zaya, Brookside, and Eliza Alexander. Pardon? I did get the name. Taking on Meiko Satomura, fine, and Saray, maybe fine. So Saray does not do her transformation gimmick tonight to start the match. She just comes out through the mist and whatever as Saray. We don't see the schoolgirl part, which I'm fine with. We get holds and counters by Saray and Zaya Brookside to start. Zaya then does like kind of a cool headstand escape and then kicks Saray in the chest. Alexander comes in with forearms and some hair pulling because she's a heel. Saray with a shotgun drop kick. She tags in Meiko. Meiko dominates Alexander on the mat, tags Saray back in for a double bulldog. Big clothesline to Saray, and Brookside's back in as the heels now isolate her for a little bit. Suplex to Saray by Alexander before a sliding elbow for a 2 count. Camel clutch by Alexander, but Saray counters it and finally tags out. Meiko kicks the crap out of Alexander before a DDT and a cartwheel kick as she continues to dominate here. Top rope splash by Meiko, but Brookside drags Alexander to the corner to get tagged in. We get a double team move ending in a high knee by Alexander to Saray. The heels try to cheat some more, but Saray is a step ahead. And this was the highlight of this show for me. The drop kick that she hit to Brookside sitting against the ropes looked incredible. And that's Saray hits this, almost always looks really good, but this one looked crazy. It looked like she just kicked right through Brookside's head in the ropes. It looked great. We then get Scorpion Rising by Meiko, and this match is over. I thought this was the best match on the show, but as you would say, that is not saying a lot.
That's like saying this was solid, and yeah, like it was okay. Like I didn't hate it. It was just there, and it was just like there was at least more to it than the other ones, I guess.
I thought the final few moments were pretty fun, and that drop kick to Zaya looked amazing, right?
I think like at least there was like it was more competitive. Like there was just more going on here than the other matches, and that's the most I can say. Cause, like I don't think any of them were like amazing.
Yeah, this one was a little bit more competitive, right? I thought Alexander looked good in some spots, but not in others. I'm kind of jury's still out for me with her. Decent match, but not a worthy main event, right?
Yeah.
So I hate to say it, but this was just another bland episode of NXT UK that just lacks star power. The vast majority of the storytelling is through brief interactions setting up like a meaningless match for next week. Doesn't seem like there's any real prolonged stories, or the ones that are there are not super interesting. And like I said, when we started watching UK, it was entertaining and we were happy with our choice. But now I find this like uninspired, I would call it.
Yeah,
probably,
that's fair.
Right?
I would agree.
No believable opponents for Meiko or Dragunov, right?
Yeah.
So you've got two pretty strong champions, and you're not
on like a
nobody believable
on like a at full strength roster. Let's say like if the roster was better, like had more like they would be phenomenal champions,
right?
I think.
But they're just kind of like default almost.
And
who
UK's
else is
lost a
it?
lot of people too. Like
they have.
Devlin are gone. Pretty Deadly are gone.
Anyone decent is
Keely
going
Ray's
to,
gone.
Right. Anyone decent's heading over to North
Mhm.
America now, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So the cupboard is kind of bare at this point, right? In UK.
And it's tricky to build people to that level.
To me, they can build Tyler Bate anytime they want. I don't know what they're waiting for, but he's a star.
I don't think they would do him again, though.
Doesn't seem like it.
He had his time.
Yeah. So I don't know. There's just not a lot happening on this show, and stuff's just kind of okay. I guess for me, the good thing on this show, there was no 2.0 talent involved in anything significant, right?
But I didn't even think about that. But yeah, that's somewhat of a positive.
But even with that, I thought this was a C- show this week. Like, I don't think it was good. You?
Mm-hmm. No, I didn't really care for anything here. I hardly remember anything of note. So I agree with that great because I just don't really care anymore. It's like, we just watch it. It's like
we watch it.
We just watch it. I don't know what else to watch.
We could plug in MLW or something. It's only an hour.
I don't even really want to watch that.
I don't know. We'll figure something out.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
We'll see. We need something, unless UK magically gets better.
Yes. I'll stick it out a little longer.
Yeah.
But yeah.
No, I'll wait on it.
It's been very, very bland for at least a month now, right?
Yeah. We'll see.
Well, we're going to transition into what will be our final segment this week, and that is what we call Any Other Wrestling Business. All right, so the only thing I really wanted to talk about here was NXT 2.0 Great American Bash. You're refusing. So I've shut down my NXT 2.0 viewing unless it's a pay-per-view premium live event or a special episode.
Even then, that's incredibly dumb of you.
Which, in theory, this was a special episode, right? So the night started, and this is the only thing you saw, a pool party hosted by Briggs, Jensen, and Fallon Henley. And it was basically full...
the NXT UK Tag Team Champions, okay?
It was basically full of all the talent that are not on this card doing various things, right? I don't really want to get into it too much. It was like fun-ish. I don't know. It didn't really bother me. It's like it feels like the old Bash at the Beach, kind of silly promos and segments and stuff from back in the day. So whatever, it was fine. The show opens with the NXT Women's Tag Team titles on the line. It's Toxic Attraction, who've been champions for what feels like decades, taking on Cora Jade and Roxanne Perez. So Mandy Rose at one point gets thrown out of this because she pulls the referee out of the ring, so she gets sent to the back. After Jade takes out JC Jane, Perez ends up hitting the Pop Rocks on Gigi Dolan to pick up the win here. That's about the extent of my notes for this particular show. I went real quick. I thought this was a decent 10-minute tag match considering who was involved, right? I'm not a big fan of 3/4 of this bunch, to be honest. The finish seemed to come really quickly, but it's nice to see Toxic Attraction finally lose the titles. Hopefully step out of the spotlight for a little bit and not just win them right back the next day like they did last time, right?
Oh my god, yes, they literally won them 2 days later.
Right, so I'm hoping that's not the case. I could see them, though, getting them back because I feel like they're in a hurry to split Jade and Perez up. Like, I feel there's a Cora Jade heel turn coming, and they can't stop themselves from doing it, like, right away. Yeah, I think so. It's been a lot of this, we're best friends, and it's just too much over the top.
That sounds so bad, though. She would be so bad at it.
I think so, too, but I feel like it's coming. After the match, as Perez and Jade are celebrating, Perez announces she will face Mandy Rose next week for the NXT Women's Championship, so she's cashing in her tournament win, I guess. Rose responds by mocking Perez for thinking she could beat her. Sure, no problem. Pretty Deadly cut a very entertaining promo because they're just fun guys. They promised to take the NXT UK tag titles away from Briggs and Jensen. I hope that's true. Entertaining duo those guys are. Mm-hmm. Wesley versus Trick Williams. This was ridiculous.
That is special.
Trick comes out in Muhammad Ali inspired robe. That was kind of the coolest thing about this, probably. So Trick Williams ends up winning with his big boot. Did you hear how he won this match? Do you know what he did to cheat?
Yeah, something.
He put rubbing alcohol on his hands and blinded Wesley with it. Nice. And won on a special episode in 3 minutes.
Nice.
I didn't like this. It seemed out of place on a special episode. Like, if you want this to feel like a pay-per-view, you don't put a 3-minute match on. But I guess it's a way of keeping the limited Trick Williams from working a long match, right? Because he's not very good yet. And I guess it establishes him as a heel, but this kind of felt like a waste of time to me.
Oh wait, I was gonna ask where Hayes is, but he's definitely in the title.
On here. Yeah. Tony D'Angelo revealed to Legado del Fantasma that he had hospitalized Santos Escobar, and then he demanded Joaquin Wilde and Cruz del Toro follow Elektra Lopez's example by helping the family. I don't really understand what's going on here.
Nor do I care.
Since I stopped watching this product a month ago, I'm a little surprised that this story is still going on, because it was going on for quite a while before I stopped watching, right? So I just don't know why they can't. Just a waste of Escobar, and to a certain degree Legado, right? They're talented guys in the ring, and Escobar's a star. I don't know why they're shackling him with this nonsense, but they are. Tiffany Stratton taking on Wendy Chu is next. Wendy, surprisingly, the babyface attacks Stratton backstage before the match, and they brawl. Chu got a few flurries in this match, but Stratton picked up the win with her corkscrew Vader bomb in about 5 minutes. And actually, for a 5-minute TV match, I thought this was just fine. Wendy Chu has a horrible gimmick, right? She's wearing pajamas and she's basically wrestling as a child, I guess. I don't know. But she's pretty good in the ring, and Stratton continues to improve every week. I would now consider Tiffany Stratton a can't-miss talent, as long as they let her get a bit more seasoning in NXT and don't bring her up too quickly. So I don't have a ton of confidence that'll happen, but she's really good for her experience level, I think. Apollo Crews comes out to a new theme to cut a fairly lengthy
you say
promo.
Apollo Creed?
Sorry, Apollo Crews? I don't know what I said. Who knows? A fairly lengthy promo on what it means to him to finally be himself again now that he's in NXT.
Which means faking not being Nigerian.
So it's like, yeah, exactly. I don't have an accent anymore, etc., etc.
The accent was real, right?
No, but so it wasn't real, but his family has those accents. So
well,
I think it was...
I guess he's being himself? I don't know.
So he's interrupted by Giovanni Vinci. So he challenges Cruz to a match next week, saying he's giving Cruz... I like this line, actually. I'm giving you 7 days to find an excuse to give your kids on why you lose, sort of thing. So I thought that was okay. Cruz is better on the mic than he was, but he's still not great, and they gave him too much time here. I thought the match could be good, but like you were asking earlier, I don't know who loses this match, right? Like, Vinci's just been repackaged and reintroduced, and Cruz just came back from main roster and sort of seems to be pushed. So, I mean, all that adds up to a screwy finish, I would think, right? Because WWE can't distraction roll up seems to be the go-to.
I guess so.
Maybe involving Zion Quinn, I'm guessing. But we'll see. Zion Quinn, speaking of which, cuts a promo. He's mad at Apollo Crews for not including him in the promo when he listed, because he listed a whole bunch of talent in NXT and he didn't mention Quinn, so Quinn's mad.
Okay.
Exactly.
That could apply to a bunch of people.
Exactly. The former A-Kid talks about being a math genius and reveals his new name of Axiom. Did you see this vignette?
I heard about it.
Yeah. So this sounds dangerous only because NXT have the tendency, right, to take one characteristic of somebody and make it their entire character. So that could hurt A-Kid. He's really good in the ring. I'm really nervous about this. I'm a math guy. It's kind of like one of the women right now she wears glasses. She's really smart. She's a business lady. James, right.
I think.
So it feels like that route.
Why do I know that?
With A-Kid. Robert Stone and Sophia Cromwell, who I also forget her name all the time, they complain about Von Wagner not being included in the Great American Bash. Solo Sikoa shows up. He and Wagner get in each other's faces, and it looks like we're getting a match between these two next week, I guess. I don't know. I imagine Sikoa may put Wagner over and be gone, sort of thing. That wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah, I hope so.
Yes. Backstage ahead of their match, Grayson Waller promises to take the gold from Carmelo Hayes. Hayes responds, makes it clear that any friendship he had with Waller, because I think they were affiliated for a few weeks of me not watching, but that their relationship has been ruined. That is the match. It's the North American title with Carmelo Hayes defending against Grayson Waller. A bit of a heel versus heel dynamic here, which is never ideal. Each man is willing to take shortcuts in this. They set the tone early after each man started out kind of with a fake handshake and a cheap shot attempt. Wes Lee eventually shows up and takes out Trick outside the ring, causing a distraction at one point. Long story short, Mello hits his top rope leg drop for the win after about 12 minutes. I thought this was actually a really good match, both men showcasing their abilities. I love the charisma of Carmelo Hayes. He feels like a star to me. His entrance tonight was really cool. I found out later it was inspired by Allen Iverson, who is a basketball player you would not know, but
fresh off the boat.
He was cool. Both of these guys are really talented. I'm not sure how much more time they need in NXT before a main roster push, but this match was very good, I thought.
Too small.
Yeah, probably. The new girl in Chase University, forget her name.
Thea Hale.
Thank you. Why? Thea Hale, right? Good. So anyways, she and Bodie Hayward are roommates, and Bodie's saying doesn't get any sleep or something. I don't know what the implication is, but a field trip is suggested, and Chase finds an opportunity to yell at somebody, as he always does, and kick them out, but then agrees and says they'll be taking a field trip to London. So guess what that means?
UK, baby.
More 2.0 in UK, which is just what everyone needs. Tag team title matches next. The Creed brothers defending against Roderick Strong and Damon Kemp. So the idea is it's 4 members of Diamond Mine facing off for these titles. And before the match, they did a little promo together before Strong walked away from the rest of them as they were kind of warming up, I guess it was. So Brutus does hit his Brutus bomb to the outside at some point. Julius pinned Kemp.
Of course, that's what it's called.
With Julius ends up pinning Kemp with some basic move that didn't look great. I forget what it was. And then the sliding clothesline, which as well is not the most devastating looking finisher. After 12 minutes, I thought the match was pretty good. It never felt like the champions wouldn't retain. The Creeds should have a really long run with these titles, I think, and they need to move past whatever this story is with Roderick Strong that seems to be like starting and stopping and starting and stopping, right? They have problems, maybe they don't. Oh, they still do, maybe they don't. Just figure it out. The finish to this was pretty underwhelming, but the match itself was pretty good. Ivy Nile talks about Diamond Mine and then goes over to help Tatum Paxley, who's being bullied by Carter and Chance, who I guess are heels now. Ivy invites Paxley to meet her at the gym to train, I guess. Ivy Nile's delivery still needs some work, but she seems more confident, and I don't know if this is the first signs of Chance and Carter being heels, or if this is something they've been working on the show I don't watch anymore, but that's where we're going. Main event, NXT Championship, Braun Breaker defending against Cameron Grimes. Gee, I wonder who's going to win. Again, no chance the champion's not retaining, so we only can hope for an entertaining match. This was all about Braun's injured right shoulder. This was brought up several times throughout the show. Should he even be competing, etc., etc.? Grimes wants the title so bad that even though he is a babyface, I think he's still attacking that shoulder whenever he can, and he's good at it, right? So him...
Yeah, I saw the thing where he threw him in the turnbuckle and it broke off last week. I was like, is he a heel?
I think it's just kind of like, I'll win, I'll do whatever it takes to win. I don't think he's back to heel, although again, I'm not watching every week, so it's hard to say.
I don't think so either, but then I guess like if one of them's going to work heel for the feud,
yes,
it would be him.
Right. And so... At one point, Grimes hit his cave-in. It looked really good, actually. Braun got to kick out of it, which I don't love. I like that move being protected. So I guess what the point was, Grimes sets up for a super cave-in, comes off the top rope, gets caught by a spear from Braun Breaker, and Braun picks up the pinfall and retains his championship.
Spear ripping off Reigns.
After a 12.5-minute match. A good main event. But at the end of the day, it was only 12 minutes with a predictable outcome, right? We knew who was going to win.
Right.
Grimes did a good job of attacking Braun's shoulder, I thought.
Braun's American singlet.
Yes. And Braun's speed and power, honestly, is always impressive. I liked this match just fine. Like, it was a good match. Nothing amazing, but a good main event match. Overall, I thought it was a lackluster for a special episode. Several short matches, right? I did like the North American title match a lot. That was probably my match of the night. And the NXT Championship match was good as well. The tag team match wasn't bad. Stratton Chu was just really short but decent, and then the rest of the show was pretty much forgettable. I'm glad to see Toxic Attraction lose their titles for sure, finally. But everyone else retained as expected. Decent show, not great. I gave it a C. So a couple things worth watching, but a lot that I didn't think was great. A C show. I would recommend the North American title match probably, and that's about it, to be honest.
Nice.
Yep. So you said there's nothing for figuring it out?
No, but I mean, I'll mention it quick because my friend he plays baseball, so he's in Cincinnati right now.
Oh, yeah.
He went to Target today, so naturally.
Oh, is Hancock?
Yeah, Hancock's in Cincinnati. Naturally, I told him to send me pictures of stuff.
And it was good stuff?
It's interesting, at least, because, like, they had, I showed you, they had, like, the Legends Ultimate Edition Batista.
Right.
Which is, like, the white trunks with the red, and, like, that's interesting for two reasons, because that's pretty recent, and like I know at first people had trouble finding it. I think now it's making its way out, like it's shipping out, but I know at first people had trouble finding it. And then also, I don't remember seeing an Ultimate Edition in stores since like that Finn Balor that mom got me.
Yeah.
The with the tongue expression.
No, I haven't noticed one in a while.
Like, I don't remember the last time I've seen Ultimate Edition in one of our stores ever. Like, I had, like, there's the Fiend ones that I wanted. Can't get them because I've never seen them in my entire life. Like,
right.
I think the only reason I got
America
an Ultimate Edition is because, like, mom got me the Balor and then also got the Nakamura when we went to the SummerSlam thing.
So you need to go to America. That's what you're telling me.
I desire Target.
Nice.
There's also some AEW figures that I haven't seen. Like, they have Unmatched Series 3 with the cards. They have Silver, Uno, Jay, and Grayson. I can't tell if behind there's any Brody Lee. I think there might be, but I can't tell. It just shows me the ones on the front. So that's Coolio.
Nice.
Coolio. And also there's like there's the Legends China Elite. There's Mean Mark Callis.
Yes, sir.
They actually made a figure of him.
I was watching wrestling when he was still Mean Mark Callis.
That's funny.
Yep.
And then there's also Undertaker right next to the Mean Mark Callis, so that's pretty funny.
Nice.
And yeah, that's it. There's also like the newest battle packs, but those kind of suck now. Anyways, that's just interesting because proving that our selection sucks, but...
So no new releases, just stuff that his friend saw in a random Target in the States.
Yes.
That's our update today.
Where I desire to be.
Nice. Well, that's going to wrap up.
My vacation is a Target.
Nice. Simple man. That's going to wrap up episode 103. I don't think there's anything special happening pay-per-view wise from any company that I know of. Doesn't seem like we get around to covering it anyways before the next episode. So we'll for sure be back here next Saturday for episode 104. I don't think there's anything coming out before that.
We're approaching 2 years.
We are approaching 2 years.
Also my birthday.
Impressive. That too. So thank you, as always, for taking any time out of your week to listen to us two meatheads talk about wrestling. We hope to see you back here next week. And until then, take care.